welcome you to another edition of the New Jack Swing podcast with myself, Namdi, and Mr. Stevie Street. How you doing, Stevie?
I'm good, all good. How are you doing?
Well, I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I'm looking forward to welcoming Father MC, our special guest, within the next few minutes. Um, yes, so it's going to be definitely a good one, and I think I've enjoyed the fact that we've been able to get guests to come in, especially we were doing our top 10 Father MC songs, and I didn't realize how hard this was going to be for me, just because he had so many hits on those first three Uptown albums, so it's going to be a fun one. But
I'm
what?
excited. I'm excited. I'm excited, but at the same time, a bit concerned for our brother Sheldon. Do you wanna say something about that?
Yeah, so just as we were about to come on, we got a message from Sheldon that he has taken ill, and yes, and so he's unfortunately isn't going to be able to join us, and so we're really really devastated because Sheldon's this is a triad here, all three of them us make it together. So we wish Sheldon the best, and I know he's with us, and next week when we do our I'll be sure, I'm sure he'll be back for that.
Thinking
Um,
about you, Sheldon.
yes,
Let's. He might join us. He didn't rule it out, but I know he's not feeling well. So
yeah,
let's hope he gets well soon.
yes. So Father MC will join us in about 3 minutes. Want to welcome you, Baseline G, Christopher from France, from Paris, welcome. Derek, welcome. Sonia, welcome. Really, Derek's coming from Minneapolis, St. Paul's. Well done, welcome. Maybe you can help us get Jimmy and Terry and out in Los Angeles, but I was going to say you could help us get them the Minneapolis sounds. Yeah, Father. For those who might not know, and when he comes in, I started this show halftime chat back in 2020, and my first musical guest was Father MC. I reached out to him. I probably had 5 or 10 people on YouTube. I reached out to him and said, "Can I get an interview?" And he says yes. And I was
Wow.
like, "Okay." So it was surreal, and so we've been in touch ever since. He knows I support him and everything, but he supports me. But yeah, so
What
yeah,
made you reach out to Father MC first out of anybody, really?
I had no plans to. I was just doing my stuff, interviewing friends and just people, just little people here. Then he just joined Instagram, like he just created an account, and he hadn't had people follow him. So I just quickly messaged him, and that was it. It was just by chance. And I think when he agreed, and and I still have the video of me saying, just saying, I can't believe this is happening. I'm interviewing a real R&B, hip hop star, and after that, I just felt because I felt it went well. When he was cool. He was just so encouraging, and responsive to questions that I just felt like, wow, this actually is working, and that's what gave me the confidence to Nitty Green from Rift, then Timmy Gatlin. I think once I got the Timmy Gatlin one, it was that felt like, okay, this I could do this stuff. But Father MC, he always knows, and I never hide about giving him his props for giving me the opening the door. So yeah, so I
Yeah,
look forward to it.
before we go viral with just before we speak to Father MC, there's an Aaron Hall skit on IG that's it's just so funny. Dum dum diddy. If you get to
Yeah,
it's Aaron Hall doing it. Was it the nursery rhyme book?
he's doing the nursery rhyme books.
And some guy imitating Aaron Hall. It's just so funny. Dum dum diddy. I can't get it out of my head at the moment. But if you see that, it's on IG. It's going viral at the moment. This little the nursery rhymes of Aaron Hall sung by, I can't remember the guy's name, but he's got him off to a T, hasn't he? He's
Yes,
got old Aaron Hall. And I
yeah,
see Teddy posted you as well on IG again. He getting used to this now. And Teddy
well,
posted you on his IG story again.
yeah. Teddy Riley. I mean, he did. Yeah. We used to follow each other, and we've messaged and gone back and forth. I'm slowly getting back in his good books.
You
So
are. You are.
Um, But for anyone who's just joining in and saying, okay, I can see Stevie, I can see Namdi, but where's Sheldon and where's Father MC? One, Father MC is going to join us shortly. Sheldon sent us a message that he took ill, and for Sheldon as a trooper, he was taken ill, so he's not able to join us this evening. So he's still part of the crew, and we definitely wishing him luck. He did say he'll try and join. I said, look, Sheldon, no, he's not in a position to join us live today, but next week. So Father will come in shortly. But before he does that, just quick music news. Taylor Swift has just released a double album.
Who? Who?
Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift.
Who's that?
And she's broken every single record and Spotify and all that stuff. Not that those records really mean much to the average music buyer, but it's amazing how she seems to have overshadowed what Beyonce did a couple of weeks ago. And it feels as if come Grammy and all the award time, she'll probably sweep the Queen sweep. But it's just interesting dynamics.
It was a huge day yesterday for music. Obviously, it was record store day. All the independent shops throughout the world really got all them exclusive for one day only titles, vinyl titles, and
Okay.
I didn't bother. I just looked at the prices of all them vinyls and I thought, I'm going to stick to my charity shops and my 50-cent CDs. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Old School Flavor, welcome. As I said, Father's joining us shortly. And as I mentioned, Sheldon's not well today, but and hopefully you guys have done your top 10 Father
Yeah,
MC.
let's hope so.
I didn't realize, and we're looking at his first 3 albums on Uptown Records, and I didn't realize how challenging this was going to be. Um, three good albums on Uptown Records, and Sheldon Stevie. For me, it feels as if Uptown blew up so quickly that they just couldn't manage the talent they had, because his albums were really good, but they got lost in the fact that they just had Mary J, Jodeci. They were still had Guy on there. They had Albie Shaw, and it felt as if they were just they had too many things happening that they weren't able to really put the efforts in.
I don't know from where I was looking at. Obviously, I don't know the history of what he went through on the label, but I felt like they tried really hard with him. They put enough singles out. There's enough remixes. There was videos out there. You know, everybody knew who Father MC was at the time. We knew all them singles. They were getting played on the clubs from where I was. You'd see the videos around. You know, he was a big enough name. To me, he's arguably one of the first rappers. Well, you talk about hip hop, the emergence of hip hop and R&B. He was there from the start. You could him and Heavy D, R&B vocals with a rap. He was there.
Yeah, but I do wonder, because I asked that to Eddie. Could I ask that to Eddie? And I said to Eddie, did it? Not friendly rivalry, but it felt as if you had two hip hop artists doing the same type of thing, same market, and it felt as if Heavy was the first, so he got a little bit more props because his albums did better than Father. But Father was the avenue they used to launch Jodeci, to launch Mary. It was his albums that they said, let's give these guys an opportunity, and excellent productions by Mark Morales and Corey Rooney. On those productions, DJ and Sensation from Texas, welcome.
Big up to Colin Mills. He's here with us, as Old School Flavor is as well.
Yeah, Colin is in.
Joseph's here. Gary, Sonia's here. Hey, we're good start already, and we're still anticipating the appearance of the legendary Uptown Records star Father.
Well, I'm just going to give him a buzz now to invite him in. Yep, he just sent me a message. He says,
Miss Suave,
I'm on the page. I'm here.
Here. She's early.
No, Father, you're using the wrong. Okay, hold on. Copy and
it's here. We just posted via Facebook.
This link. Yeah, so Father he's here. but he's using the wrong link. So I've just sent him I've just sent him the right link. So for those who are thinking, oh, his father can join us, no, he is here. I've just sent him the link to use, and I think that's
You sent him the right check, didn't you? You sent him the right check, didn't you, Namdi?
So what I did is I think the link that we used to so I've sent him the link to log in, and he's going to join in now. So it's going to be great. So as I said, that's I think, and I think if you think about how labels subsequent to Uptown did, they managed the release of, okay, we got 112, we got Faith, we got Biggie, we got Craig. We'll give them space to breathe. I think Uptown, the success was just so massive.
I don't think it was just about the label as well. I think it was the era of rap and hip hop, because it was just he was in the middle of an incredible era of hip hop, because it was mostly no nonsense, hardcore, proper hip hop. There was no really the only rappers at the time that were deemed selling out or were pop rap with Vanilla Ice and MC Hammer. You talk. He's competing. I wouldn't say he's competing, but he was up there with Public Enemy, Big Daddy Kane, Rakim. There was a whole host: Main Source, Pete Rock, and CL Smooth. I mean, the fact that we had Heavy D and Father MC, who, they had the best of both worlds. They weren't pop rap. They wouldn't say they were hardcore. They were in the middle, and I felt we needed that. It was just, we're in the middle. And it could have went either way for Father MC. But like I say, I'd need to understand his backstory, how he felt. Did he feel the label weren't pushing him? Because from what I saw, I felt they were,
Yeah.
But you've got to see MCA in this country were pushing dance music. They weren't pushing New Jack Swing, MCA UK. They tried with Father here. They released his records, but the priority was dance and rave and that was took over the club culture here. So black music at the time here in the UK was still very much underground, not like it is today.
Yeah, I mean, but as I guess as you're right, everything could be timing. I know that the Sexist Law album when probably did a lot better, and because he maybe because I was a big Teddy fan, so he would Teddy, and I went and bought it that way. But I think
when we did the Heavy D podcast, and you was like when we was reviewing the Truthful album where where he went a bit more hardcore. It was the same with Faber. He went a bit more heavier on the Sexist Law, the '69 album. I felt that's why I probably liked him. He was kind of sort of drifting away from the R&B and swing influence and going a bit heavier. 93 sound did anyway. It was the precursor to say hip hop, soul, and G-funk and gangster rap. So Father, as he moved with the times, and he's been able to stay in the game for even today. One of the few. It's hard in rap to, you're lucky if you get past one album, two at the most in rap, and you've forgotten. But he's kept going.
But then and he turned. I mean, Father MC he's joining us. He's about to log in shortly. But he turned into producing, and did stuff with Ray Parker Jr. And he's now getting and he's now like a full-on producer writer as well, both with R&B and hip hop. So we're going to be able to talk to him about his mixtape, and because he's signed a distribution deal with Sony, but he's still trying to get a lot of things in place. So we're waiting for that. Why was black music on the ground in the UK? That was what Sonia is asking.
Why? Because at the time, all the major labels were pushing in the early 90s, they were pushing dance music, they were pushing grunge music, they were pushing indie pop music, and black music at the time, soul music, New Jack Swing, hip hop was all a very underground. It was being played on pirate radio across the country. it was amazing just to see, you know, something cross over onto top of the pops or get in the top 40 chart. But yeah, it was so underground back then. It was a fight to actually get the music heard. It really was. Most of the people working at major labels didn't really have an invested interest in pushing the stuff we like at the time. But it did change. It, you know, as the 90s went on and as the sound got bigger and bigger, by the 2000s, it completely changed. You know, it went from being underground to completely crossing over. All the majors were pushing, by the 2000s, all the major labels, R&B was priority. You know, that was the golden period for R&B, really. We're chucking the stuff out.
Yeah, but as Richard was saying here, by the time, you know, the whole East Coast and the G-Funk and how that also started to really shape the direction as well.
Wow, we've got a lively debate going already, Namdi. We're only 10 minutes in.
So for those who just joined us, so Father MC, he is he's about to log in. He actually came in through the Facebook page, but I've sent him the right link for to log in into here. Oh, he's typing me. But then also for those coming in, Sheldon isn't around today. He took it ill just before we started, so we're wishing him luck and wishing him well. And I'm just waiting for Father. He is trying to join in and stuff. G-Funk was in by Above the Law before Warren G and Dre. Yeah, but getting on. Give me a second. Okay, so he's coming on soon now, so that is great. Also, guys, hopefully, because after tonight, next week is I'll Be Sure. Top 10 I'll Be Sure. So he's also another Uptown veteran. Hopefully, I have reached out to Al to see if
don't get as excited, Namdi, unless you can deliver it. Deliver that one. That's a big one to deliver that.
Hopefully he comes in and joins us and stuff. Okay, but before that, Stevie, anything? Yes, I'll be. Yeah. So before he comes in, before he joins us in, any new music releases?
And like you say, like I was saying earlier, yesterday was Record Store Day. There was a lot of releases out yesterday. I'd say the one to check out, if you can get hold of it, well, you can, is an album by Blue Lab Beats that combine R&B, jazz, hip hop. They got some female singers on the album, but it's the second album. It's a duo, solid. They're called Blue Lab Beats. Check them out.
Okay.
That'd be my recommendation for this week. Hopefully, oh yeah, and we've got on Thursday night. Don't forget this, Namdi, because we need to do the promo for it. Mr. LaFlex. Want to be introducing and interviewing Mr. LaFlex from the UK, who combines like an 80s pop soul boogie sound. He's got a brand new album out. He sounds a bit like George Michael. The production's very Jam and Lewis, and I know the listeners will love his music. It's kind of romantic as well. It takes you back to the late 80s. So I'm looking forward. You need to check out LaFlex as well. LeFlex, L-E Flex.
Yeah, Colin just mentioned about Jodeci's longtime manager, Mike Jackson, and not manager, music director, passed away. I'm not sure what happened, and especially as they're in the middle of some tours. So that's really sad news. Mike Jackson. I know New Edition are getting ready to go back to Vegas for their show, and I'm probably going to ask people, for those who went to see them on tour last week, and if they'd seen him, if they've seen him at the O2 in Vegas, if there's any difference between the two shows. I've always been a Far MC fan, so have I, and so yeah, he's logging in shortly, so you know, for anyone that might think, yeah, it's so this is
building the anticipation.
Yes, so he's here. we're just waiting for him to so he was watching, it's funny because during the time of lockdown, a lot of us were using, a lot of people started to do their shows on IG Live, and you come into the comments and you get brought in. I never did IG Live. I always focused on YouTube. So yeah, so I wait for him to come on in and stuff. But yeah, so the guy that, so on Thursday we're coming live with what's his name?
LeFlex.
Flex.
LeFlex.
Think of Rick Ashley in 2024, but it is really funky, his stuff. And not only that, it's if you ever see him on IG, you can see him showing you how he comes up with the tracks. He'll start the beats and the progression and stuff like that. So actually, some vibes. So it'd be interesting just hearing his story. So we'll start the promotion for that after this evening
Oh,
as well.
I checked out your Allure interview. I've not fully finished it, but I'm about an hour and a half in. Namdi, really enjoyed that.
Okay.
If any of the listeners haven't watched the Allure interview yet, very good.
Yeah, you know what? I never really understood what happened with them, and the fact that the whole Mariah Carey, Tommy Mottola divorce, how that then impacts them, how Trackmaster just like that. Okay, he's here. He's here. He is here. So I want to welcome our special guest.
What's going on, sir?
Yes, welcome, welcome, welcome. How
You
you
got
been?
the
Oh, we
Oh,
got flip round there.
what's going on, sir? You got the
Good evening.
for being like that.
oh, sorry, Mister. What did you say?
Right,
Oh
we'll
no! Oh,
sort
you thought it was Instagram? No, no, no. Yeah, it was always going to be here. Yeah, so I can see people getting crazy, thinking, "Oh my goodness, he finally is here."
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? So for those who didn't hear, when I was had 5 people subscribing, I reached out to Father MC. He had just joined Instagram. Maybe he just set up an account, and I said, "Hey, can I get an interview?" And he says, "Sure." And I always give him thanks because he helped launch what I'm doing, because the confidence he gave me when I was interviewing him made me feel as if, wow, I can actually do this stuff. And I've always told him how much I appreciate his time, and how that just opened other doors for me. So he is, I'm always indebted to him and stuff. So I always appreciate it. And the fact that you decided to come on this evening is a blessing. So thanks, Father.
Anything, brother. How's everything? I see you doing it well too.
Yes, yeah. I wanted to I wanted to introduce my co-host, Stevie Streets. Stevie, it's Father MC.
Hello, sir.
How you doing, sir?
Good evening. You know what? I was just telling Namdi before, it's like you could argue like you was like, if not the first, one of the first to actually combine hip hop and R&B. You need credit for that, because I was just looking back at the late 80s, early 90s, when it was all combining that sound. Who really was combining R&B and hip hop, and
You
you was
know,
one of the first, if not the first.
I gotta give it. I was one of the first. I gotta give it to my guy, my label mate, Heavy D.
Yeah, we was talking about
And
who, yeah, with Heavy D
I
as well.
was I was I was when Andre had took me after a photo shoot. I was hardcore. And Andre took me on the photo shoot. We was doing the Source cover, and it was Uptown, and it was the Red Bandit was there for I think Motown. I forget what Rich Nice, all of them. Then Andre had the Uptown thing, and he said, "Yo, I'm gonna make you a star, but you got to change. You got to change your music and stuff like that." And I'm like, "What?" He said, "You got to get radio, man. You got to get radio." And you know, I loved Heavy D's record. I want somebody to love me for me. And when I heard that, I was like, man, I'm thinking. I get on the train. I'm going home. and I'm on the Long Island Railroad, and you know, two crackheads were on the train, and I heard them arguing, and she's like, "You don't treat me the way I want to be treated," and it just stuck with me, man. And then I'm on the train, and then this is God, man. God bless Marky D, Prince Marky D. I had beepers, and Prince Marky D called. He beeped me, and it was so funny. It was at his stop. It was the stop before his stop, and he told me, you know, I ran. I had my homeboy hold the train. I called him real quick. He's like, "Where you at?" He had his Porsche. I'll never forget. I said, "I'm the next stop to you," and he says, "Get off, get off. I'm coming to get you right now." And we went, and I told him I had an idea. Treat him like you want to be treated, and that's what started everything.
Wow.
Wow.
Yes, I got to give it up to Heavy D.
What happened 2 years prior? Because I know you slipped out a little independent release about 1988 on a green label. So I'm thinking, how did you go? How did that happen? And how did you connect to Uptown?
It was this guy, Bernard, in Far Rockaway. It was Father MC in the First Fleet. God bless Shati Shamel, my DJ, one of my DJs, and Rob Ski. We put a record out. We was hustling back in the day. And we wanted these cars. And we did an independent record with this guy. We ain't know what we were signing. We did nothing. So this lady comes to me and says, "I want to introduce you to LL Cool J's mother." And I'm like, okay, back in the day, I'm like, yeah. So I went, you know, she took me shopping. We go to LL Cool J's mother. I meet her, and very, very, very nice lady. She said, okay, we went shopping, and then that Tuesday, I believe, or Wednesday, we went to Def Jam, and Leo Cohen got me out the deal with Stupid Fresh Records, took that and just, you ain't got nothing to worry about. I'm thinking I'm going to sign to Def Jam because they gave me a contract. I go to Uptown for management because I seen what they've done to Albie Shaw. And I had all of these contracts at the time. And Dre gave me $1,000 on that Friday, told me to go out, and if he could beat him, I'll be signed. He'll still, if he can't beat him, he'll still sign me to Uptown management. But if he says, "I want you as an artist." So he beat everybody in Father MC in Uptown.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy.
That's how it happened then.
Yeah. Yeah, it was nuts.
You know what is unsung is the I don't think there's a lot of credit goes to Prince Marky D and Corey Rooney in the production they did for you, because they started with you and they went on to do Mary's
I started everybody, man. I put everybody on my back. I put when nobody knew nothing about a Jodeci, nobody knew nothing about a Mary J, no one knew nothing about Puffy, Diddy. No
Yeah, he
one
was
knew
dancing
nothing.
in your video. Yeah.
My video. He was my A&R director. Me and him in the studio. Kurt Whitley was my A&R. Kurt Whitley went to Columbia, and then I told Andre. Andre said, "We got a problem." God bless Dre Harrell. And I told Dre. People forget that I told Dre, and I'm not taking credit on getting Puffy his job, but I told Dre. Dre said, "We got a good problem. We're gonna still finish your album, but we're gonna take 6 months because we got to get an A&R. We got to get him in the process." And I told Dre, I was so hungry at the time. I remember telling Dre verbatim, I could see it. We was at the MCA, the Uptown office MCA building. And I told him, I said, "Kurt be sleep half the time in the studio. It's always me and Puff." And he's like, "You serious?" I'll never forget. He looked at me and said, "You serious?" I swear to God. And I said, "Yeah," because I was anxious as an artist to go. And I was like, you know, in this game, anything can happen overnight. You know, you could have everybody on you. And then I've seen it with artists that they were on. Uptown was just, whew, the thrashing team. You know, Jimmy Jenkins come with his funny shoes and he starts throwing his 2 cents in. You like, whew, we loved you 10 seconds and now you're over. But Jimmy and Dre and Jimmy, I owe my career to Jimmy Jenkins, you know, Andre, right-hand man at Uptown, which Jimmy really was Uptown, to be truthfully, but Andre was the guy. See, Jimmy looking at this, and he already caught me earlier. So, you know, he lost down a little bit.
Jimmy has been on 4 or 5 times. He's
I
he's
seen him.
he's he's a
I said
friend of the
trying
show.
to be
So
cool. He
yeah, I
trying to
love
be
Jimmy.
cool, but he's taking the credit of the way my swagger was to talk, all of that, and everybody saying Jimmy did it. They knew I came with the jokes and the yeah and all of that. But Jimmy took it, so I give it to him. Let him, everybody got to kiss something.
No, I asked this I asked this question to Eddie, and it was about, was there any competition between yourself and Heavy, because you're both, as Stevie was saying, that hip hop R&B on Uptown. Was there any, friendly competition? I know you're cool and everything.
Nah, it wasn't. You know what it was with me was I came in the game knowing who I was, man. Heavy gave me the most support out of everybody
Wow.
on Uptown as an artist. Heavy. I remember we was doing MTV Unplugged, and I just had flew back from Germany. We was in Dusseldorf. They flew me to LA. We had to do the MTV Unplugged, and Dre just springs it on us. Like, all right, I'm prepared to do the record. I'm prepared to go there and perform. I'm on tour at this point. And Dre says, I want to do this record Uptown Live with all of y'all. Write y'all parts right now. And then in 6 hours, you got to go and do it. So you got to write it, go in the studio, record it, and then do it that same day. I'm like,
Wow.
money, I'm not an actor, nigga. I don't know. I don't know how to do it. Dude. So all day, Heavy seen me stressing like, damn, man. I said, if I mess up, I'm just going to go live and just off the head and go. And Heavy was like, nah, Father, you got this. You got this. Jodeci, Mary, and all of them was doing their parts. Christopher Williams, they was all doing their parts. But I had to go and pin something real quick and get down. That's why I said 89 was a good year. I signed for dough. That's how I
Oh yeah.
started it off. And I start going. But you can see even in the thing, when I do it, how I go straight to Heavy, give him
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, and yeah. So
I
is
give him
that
that
why?
because I'm like, thank you, man. Because he all day he was hitting me on my jack like, yo, you good? Everything's gonna be all right, Father. Everything's gonna be all right. And I'm like, he says, go get some rest, man. I said, I can't rest. It's easy to tell me to get some rest, you know. But Heavy was cool. And all my career I was on tour with Jodeci a lot and Mary, So, you know, it was like we do the states, and then after the states tour would end, we not going home. We going straight to the airport, and we jetting overseas to go get that cash from overseas. So we come in. I did the Hippodrome. I love the Hippodrome. London. I was the most artist to go to London. I went to London 27 times in 1 year.
Wow.
And then when I did Wembley Arena, it reminded me of Madison Square Garden, but overseas, like in London,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
walked and I loved the reception London gave me. I loved it, but just to walk on the stage with the greats, it's a difference, and you'll see it with some of the artists when you perform on certain stages.
Mm,
You're like Michael
yeah.
Jackson on this stage, like the greats, Aretha Franklin, Patti LaBelle, like Elvis Presley. I mean, you get what I'm saying? This is the greats, and you're
Yeah.
on that stage too, and you're not on that stage doing something else. You're doing you, and you got people screaming and knowing what your bed of work, and it was incredible. It was incredible.
I remember you said that one of the place that you were one of the most nervous was the Apollo
Whew.
Sandman. I mean, people might wonder, like, what's you're an artist? But you said that was one of the.
Let me tell you something. The Apollo will let you have it. I was at the Apollo before I was Father MC, and I was checking out some celebrities. I'm not gonna say their name, but I was checking them out, you know, and that's in my street days. Me and my team, we out there, and I see artists that had hit records get booed, and that bugs me out. And I was like, these cats is getting booed, and they got the hottest record out right now, but they're getting booed. It's just like when my first tour, I wanted to hear, Big Daddy Kane. I wanted to hear the Eric B and Rakim. I wanted to hear, but the further we got out of New York, the less I started hearing the artists that I really liked. And I'm thinking, and then that's when George Terrell, he worked for Uptown, the radio rap. He explained to me about the way records now, because I'm strictly a New York cat looking for you know, I want to hear what I want to hear on my tour bus. I want to hear the Big Daddy Kanes. I want to hear the Eric B and Rakim. I want to hear the cats that I liked.
Mm.
And on radio, because New York radio was killing these cats. They was playing them nonstop, you know. And it was good. It was good. But he explained to me about how the record system go. All records in New York are not going to be records that you hear across the board. So that's when I started paying attention to the industry.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of your fans who are going crazy about your stuff. But you know, we may start off with Father's Day and probably talk, because normally what we would do, Stevie and I are going to talk through our top 10 favorite tracks from your 3 Uptown records. But it'll be good for us just to start off with Father's Day and just to see what you remember when you were recording that album.
There's the album for anybody who wants to pick it up. It's still out there, still available.
But they've
Good
just
price.
released the extended version.
Yeah.
An extended version of
The expanded version is on
expand.
digital platforms now with all the remixes, which cost me a lot of money back then to get hold of.
Yeah, Father. I mean, if we think about Father's Day, and you know, the first track on the album is "I'll Do for You." You know, we had what was the sample on that, Stevie? Do you remember?
Sherilyn.
Sherilyn.
Sherilyn, yes, and you had Mary featured on that. I mean, you know, good track, but what was your recollection about recording that and when they brought the sample?
Well, you know, let's even take it a step further. Treat 'Em Like You Want to Be Treated was my first single. We had 78 remixes, 79 remixes for Treat 'Em Like You Want to Be Treated because the album wasn't ready.
79 remixes.
79 remixes. We were on. I bought my first house on my first single, on my single, because I was promotional touring and I was regular touring at the same time. And they wanted the album so bad. They wanted the album so bad, and it wasn't done. Now I'm gonna take you and I'm gonna bug you out. I don't know if you remember the artist Dave Hollister.
Yeah. Blackstreet. Before I let
I
you
was the
go.
first one to put Dave Hollister on the record. He was on Lisa Baby.
Yes.
Yes, it was on the album mix.
So I'll Do For You was supposed to be the original that the world never heard was Father MC and Dave Hollister. But being that Treat 'Em blew up so much that Andre, while I was on tour, Andre got Mary to go in the studio and get the remixes because the album wasn't ready. They kept sending me the different studios on the road, and it wasn't working out because they had to fly the producers to where I was at, and I was all over the place. So what happened was they cut the tour, they cut me getting money, they cut the promotional tour, finished this album. The record I'll Do For You with Mary, they stripped the one with Dave Hollister. And
Wow.
the one with Mary was supposed to be a remix because they was getting prepared because it was Father Mania. Then Dre said, forget this. I'm throwing out the one with Mary as the single.
Wow.
And the world never heard the one with Dave Hollister. And Dave Hollister was on Lisa Baby. If you look at Father's Day, you'll see the credits.
Yeah.
But being that I'll Do For You blew up even crazier, Jodeci Devontae did a remix with Puff, with Diddy, the Lisa Baby, and we shot the video to that, so it nudged Dave Hollister out the way.
Wow. I think they made the right call though to put Mary on because that single he took
It was the right thing to do. The sample, everything.
It was massive single back then.
Yeah. I mean, off that first album though, because when you think about, I mean, what was your first impression when you saw and heard of Jodeci? Because I know Eddie and everyone talks about while they were all impressed, but for you, having them do the backgrounds for Treat 'Em.
I knew it was out of here. When I heard it, I knew it was out of here. I knew I wanted, I was raised, first of all, I used to go down south every summer. So moms used to send me down south every summer. to you know, I was bad in New York, so she'd send me get a break. And you know, the Haley brothers, they were making noise in
Ah,
Charlotte, and I was
yeah.
in Rock Hill in Charlotte, you know, and I knew of them. So at the end of the day, it made all the sense in the world to me. And I knew Corey Rooney was singing "Treat 'Em Like You Want to Be Treated." But when
Oh, before.
Jodeci got on it, Jodeci took it to a whole nother. I was like it's being an artist is like, and being around artists that were artists back then, like massive. I knew that where I was going in the right direction. I knew that when this record comes, I'm out of here. But I'll
Mm.
never forget, I was at a radio station in DC, and they was like, let's hear your other record. What you coming with next, Father? And you ain't supposed to do this. So the program director took me in the back, and I played a little bit about Do for him. And he said like this. He just, white guy too, with a cowboy hat. His name was Cowboy. And he told me, it was a P1 station, and he told me, he said, you're out of here. He said, if you think Treat 'Em took you out of here, he said, I'll Do For You's gonna do it. Get ready to fasten your seatbelt. And I waited to see, and I kid you not, as soon as they put it on, it was out. It was over. It was over.
Wow.
Wow.
But when you think of it though, Lisa Baby is a real new Jack. I mean, I said people don't give Corey Rooney and Mark Morales the credit that they deserve because they were on your first two albums your go-to producers. They did the bulk of your stuff, and the fact that Corey could sing as well. I'll talk later about oh, what was that other track? Ladies, I love them. I just loved his singing on that. But going to we're stuck on the first album, Lisa Baby, really funky track. I mean, what was your did they play the track and then you just write to it, or how did
No,
that
I
come?
wrote the records before I even knew what music I was getting. I wrote I'll Do For You. I wrote I'll Do For You. I wrote Treat 'Em Like You Want to Be Treated on the Long Island Railroad. I wrote I'll Do For You in my dining room in Far Rockaway, Queens, on the table. Well, excuse me. Let me let you know the time. And then Lisa Baby, I wrote in my bedroom. I kid you not, in my bedroom, because I had to go to the studio that night, like in 2 hours. And I just same thing, making a beat on the, and doing
Ah,
this on the beating the table and writing the record.
Did you have a girlfriend at the time called Lisa?
That
Just
was
it's a
it
whole
wasn't
story.
Lisa, but it was a real
It faked
story.
her. Yeah, thought so. Because the whole story just went on in that record, didn't it?
Yeah,
And
I could get wait till you hear the new, but I'm just joking.
I
Yeah.
spoke to her many years ago. I spoke to Howie T. It was via Facebook. I had a
Oh my
Facebook
God.
conversation, and I was asking him about an artist also that featured on that first album, Lady Kazam.
That was
And
his
he,
wife.
yeah. So what happened to her? Because he said he worked on an album with her at the time. She featured on Father's Day on a single. I've been watching you for a while. So what was going on with her at the time?
She was Howie T's wife.
Didn't know that. Didn't know that.
Yeah, and that was his girl, and she was fine too. Jesus, Lady Sam was fine, man, for real. But she could rap, and
Yeah.
she was on my album. I've been watching you for a while. Who me? Yeah, yeah. She was that girl, but I never knew what happened with Howie T and whatever with the song. But it was crazy. Howie T produced records on my first album too. Great producer too.
yeah.
She was
And
what she
I'm
was
going
going
to
to
his.
Uptown.
I'm at
She
his
got deals
studio.
with
I'm at his studio. I remember, and Special Ed was on fire at this time. And I see Special Ed and Chub Rock, they going on tour, the tour bus out there. I was so amped to go to the studio. Like, yeah, I see the tour bus. I see all these cats getting Heinekens and girls on the bus. I'm like, oh shit, took my mind out of the studio. I wanted to go with them. And then they just looking at me like, yeah, this is what the work is for. And I'll never forget, I'm sitting there, I couldn't even concentrate. We was doing the record Father's Day. And I couldn't concentrate. We had to come back because I was so mind blown that these guys these are superhero stars to me. And they're
Okay.
going on the road, and I'm doing the same thing that they did to get to that point.
Mhm.
And God is so good because I remember when I made it. Now I remember me and Special Ed at the pool with we was on tour with Salt and Pepper. I think it was a spot date at this time, and he's giving me advice about the industry and the stuff that I should watch out for, and I'm just like, I'm here with this dude. It's a different setup.
Yeah. Another song that an album cut that doesn't get much credit is "I Come Correct." I mean,
Dr. Dre tried to sue us.
are you kidding me?
Yeah, Mark and Corey produced that record, and they caught heat for that record, but it wasn't a sample. Corey played everything. And I would never forget when they tried to sue us. I said, well, y'all take that shit to Mark and Corey because I ain't the producer.
But what was the...
And I never forget Dre asking me, do you want to keep that record on the album? And I was like, yeah. And that was because that was a real record about my lifestyle at that time. Let's cut out all the suits and all the good stuff. That was really father. And I wanted to have something of my original for me.
Yeah.
To change up the game, I knew when Dre took me to lunch and told me, I'm gonna make you a star. I knew what he was talking about because now I'm reading the politics. I'm getting it. And I'm like, okay, but still I can't give everything. I gotta still keep something to me, and that was I Come Correct.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to give my top 10 away, but I actually, I mean, it's an unsung track that people probably don't really give much credit to. But what was Dr. Dre's issue about it? What did he think you sampled?
I think they thought that we sampled, and I knew for a fact if he took us to court, he would lose because I was there when Corey played it, literally. And it wasn't a sample, and I never heard the record ever before, so I never knew. I think they end up working it out where no one never got sued or anything, and I think Corey proved that he played it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Corey, as I said, Corey and Prince Marky D. I was about to interview him before he passed, but the fact that they did some amazing jobs on that. But Steve, was anything else on the Father's Day album that you wanted to bring
I'll
up?
be honest, in between because obviously you recorded Father's Day, that was out there, and before your next album came out, this bizarre collaboration happened. I never saw this coming, but it was great. I mean, how did you end up working with this legend?
Ray Parker Jr., my guy.
How did that happen?
That was crazy. I think I was in. Lil Salas had called me, and I think I was in Amsterdam or London. I was in one of those places because I remember they was rolling the funny cigarettes, and I thought they were smoking weed in front of the cops. I thought, and I got the call, and he said, "Yo, Ray Parker wants you to produce and write for him." I'm like, "Hell yeah!" Wow. So he said, "We're gonna fly you to Cali, but you're gonna finish your tour these dates." We got back into the States, and I had like 6 shows. So when the tour bus is going like from the West Coast to the East Coast, it was going to take like 4 days, 5 days to get there. And it was going to be downtime. So my tour bus kept riding, going to the next venues and stuff. And they flew me out and got me a ticket to LA. And I got with Ray, and I'll never forget walking in the studio. He owned American Studios in California.
Wow.
And then he gave me the keys. He gave me his cars. Man, that was a roller coaster. Because they got me a rent-a-car. They got me a Mercedes-Benz rent-a-car. I'll never forget. Ray Parker's like, yo, just take my car. And he had met me at the hotel. My rent-a-car was at the studio. And I said, Dag, he said, just take my car. So now I got 2 cars. So I fly my dancer in Tricky. We come in, he's, we going to Disney World and all that stuff. We working on the record, carte blanche. I got money in the safe at this Universal Sheraton. We going crazy. Go in the studio, Barry White walks in.
Wow.
The most beautiful soul you ever want to meet, man. And he's so serious, too. And he reminded me of my dad. Like, he was stern. He was like, yo, man, you got to pardon me, but I can't call you father. I said, excuse me? He said, I can't call you. He said, well, you have another name? I said, Father. He said, all right, I'm a receptionist. Your name's Timothy. Oh shit. And these are guys that, I mean, literally, you got to understand, people that I got to work with that my father and mom's listened to and loved. And now I'm with these guys. Like, I'm literally with them at the award shows. I'm with them. Ray Parker Jr., I'm with him. Got keys to his mansion. And he actually inspired me when I moved to LA to buy the house in LA in the hills with the pool in the house and the 6 stories and all of that. Like, that came from me going to Ray Parker's house in the 90s and seeing all of this stuff. And I'm sorry, but I don't care what type of celebrity you are. If you used to seeing stuff as you climbed the ladder, but when you seen this man that had a pool in his house and had all of the platinum and gold records lined up, and we got in the dark, and when he turned the lights on, it was like, what the hell am I doing? I started looking at stuff different. Like I started paying attention to the game and the way the game was going. And it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot because you wanna get the stuff. You wanna show off some of the rewards from your struggle. You wanna do it, but as you get older, you do it in a different way. You do it now with equity. You do it now with real estate. You can keep the jewelry, even though I got jewelry, but I don't want to wear the jewelry because I just came from Hawaii and I'm seeing guys with massive jewelry on, massive. On the coach, though. You got $500,000 worth of jewelry on your neck and you can't tell if it's the real or the fake from the fake. So I don't even really wear, I like I'm subtle. I'll wear my ring. This is my logo for my company, but that's it. I'm chilling. You see this Gucci? They don't even know this is Gucci. It's easy. I'm easy. I'm grown now. I'm chilling.
Yeah, I mean, I think
he managed. Sorry, Nan, but he kind of managed to do. He went into New Jack. It was, and he did it well. You know what I mean? He really did, with your help, obviously.
He wanted to change. I remember going to the studio with Ray, and Ray was like, I'm thinking, I'm just studying him now. On the plane flying to LA, I'm studying this guy. Like, his records, studying him. I'm like, what am I going to do with this dude? I didn't have no idea. Until I got there, and he just told me. We sat down, and he talked. And Ray is the coolest cat, man. And he was just so cool. And he said, I want to do something. So I started coming up with, girl, I saw you, but you did not see. Then I started picking up, and then I started on the drum machine, boom, 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 and then the keyboards, and then it just came to me, and that's how I produced them. And we did it on the spot. I did a ghost vocal, and he did one. He said, Father, go for, give me 8 hours. I just need to rest. I come back to the studio in 8 hours. He got the microphone sitting in front of him, not even in the booth. And he's just like, he's singing the record. And I'm just, and the way it felt, everything felt great about it. It just, he put it in his own unique way. And even though I wrote it and I ghosted, he did it so dope, I could not say no. And he was so like, do you think that's hot? I was like, hell yeah, that's hot. Yeah, that's hot.
What's the story of She Needs to Get Some getting banned? The actual video. Did the video get banned on? Was it MTV? I don't know, some video station because they took the lyrics the wrong way.
Yeah, it was it was crazy because we got awards for that record. We got awards, major awards for that record, but he didn't get it wasn't like an epic lyric. It wasn't like the bad lyrics of him saying like, I want to go down on you or nothing like that. He's a grown man, but it was just, Ray was the video was sexual, but back then it was too sexual for TV.
Listen, the lyrics, it was very suggestive. It was a very clever, cheeky record.
Yeah, of course. I seen Ray turn up. That's what made me write 69. That made- Ray was very. I'm gonna do it my way. I don't care what the record companies say. I don't care, you know, what anyone says. I'm gonna do it my way, and I seen it work for him. But a lot of artists can't do that because a lot of artists see Ray had 100% of publishing, which MCA made the mistake and gave him all that publishing. Didn't want to give him the $1 million, and next thing you know, your record sells 200 million around world. He almost put MCA out of business.
Wow.
So they had to rethink it and reevaluate their terms and things like that. Give these artists what they need so they can give you what you want.
Yeah. We're gonna go to your just sophomore album, "Close to You." When you think of what was the shift between Father's Day and when you get to "Close to You," because by the time "Close to You" comes out, Jodeci had already blown up with "Forever My Lady" and stuff. Mary had already come out with "What's the 411." So it was like, okay, the guys I launched have really hit it big time. Was there pressure now for you to like, man, I need to go platinum, double platinum, like the guys who were on my that I
You know,
launched?
you know, there's two things that happened during that second album. My girl died. Sonia Williams died in the basketball game with Puffy at the Manhattan College, City College.
Okay, yeah.
Pregnant. She was pregnant. So that was one thing that happened. And it was crazy. It was crazy. It was devastating. Like I didn't want to see nobody at that point. And then and the crazy part is anyway, yeah. Sonia was Misa's homegirl, Puffy's baby's mother, homegirl. And it was funny because Diddy asked me to he said, yo, Misa's coming up. I wanna, get with her, whatever. So she got a girlfriend. And I was like, yeah, at first. I'll never forget we was in Howard. We was in DC. And I go downstairs to, get a soda. I meet Sonia before I see Misa or before I go back upstairs to Diddy. So I go to her and I'm talking to her and I just fell in love off sight, like Clarence fell in love. I went back to Puff, told him, I said, yo, man, we got a problem. And he's like, what? I said, I can't do it. I can't see Misa's homegirl because I just met this shorty. And he was like a little upset, but he was like, yeah, all right, I understand, man. I get it. Next thing you know, Misa walks in the door with Sonia. And I'm like, oh shit. I said, yo, that's her, Puff. That's her. And you couldn't pull us apart, man. And then the basketball game, it was crazy. It was crazy. And then, going further, a step further, record companies calling me, get back on this album, get back on this album. I was like, fuck all y'all, to be honest with you. And I was walking to get my hair cut in Far Rockaway. And the train station on Mott Avenue. I had a couple of records started on the second album. And I'm walking and I see guys I went to school with. And they said, oh, that was Luck. The first album was Luck. He ain't gonna, let's see if he do it again. That really hit me. So I got in my car. I called Andre. I said, Dre, get my hair cut. I'm coming up to you. And I said, I just got to talk to you. I said, we got to stop this album. I just got to stop. I want to go somewhere secluded. And I just want to work on me, man. Get these producers to fly out, come out to wherever we at. So Dre was like, you sure? And then at that point, he was with everything I wanted to do. And I was like, yeah. And that's when I started coming up with me and Eddie F. And I wanted to switch the producers. That's when I switched the lane from my producers that I was dealing with, like so much as Mark and Corey. But I kept them, but I didn't do as much with them because I wanted to view with other producers to get other sounds on this album. Just because the strength that the two haters said about let's see if he do it again. And when I got with me and Mary, I called Mary. I got them to get her a limo. We go to Eddie's house, and I was just in the studio. I came up with the one night stand. I said, Mary, sing this. She sung, "All You Want From Me Is One." And I said, "Nah, baby," as a joke. And I'm in the
Ah,
I said, "Nah, baby," like being suggestive, like playing around. And Eddie F just popped his head and said, "Yo, let's keep that. Let's keep that." So I was like, "All right, nah, baby. All you want," and it started feeling, and then we just went on with it. And
wow.
I had the most fun doing that record. Like, it's you gotta. I tell these artists nowadays, man, have fun in the studio because the creation is there, but to start building memories and stories is where you're putting in the work, and that's the studio. Because you could make a great record, but you're not going to make a hit record in the studio. The people that work the record going to make it a hit. You could make a great record, but the hits come from your team that's going to work the record, like a Jimmy Jenkins, Charger Radio, Radio Bulldog, like, and that's where I get, like, from me with my label now, F Media. The artists are one thing, but when you have to deal with the business people on the other
Mm.
side, it's a whole nother level. And everybody wants it now, 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 now. They want to impress people. They want to, and I get it because I'm an artist. It's over to the label side of being a CEO and got to talk to all of these other executives. You learn the business, and everything is not a rush, because if they really going to make you a star, it's a process. You have to you got to meet with these people. And nobody's paying me to go meet with nobody. And I'm shouting your name out to these record execs and all of these people that's going to do your marketing planning for you. It's not like you're coming out with a record I'm coming out with a record and it's going to be on YouTube tomorrow. And I got my name on my label is Wushu Records. And you see them 2 weeks later working on a new album. See, that's not it. The album we're working on, I'm trying to make stars. I'm trying to make celebrities like Uptown did it in a
Mm.
different way. And it's a great possibility and a chance of the celebrities that they can become. It's just that they got to believe in it and want it, but they have to be patient. And you got to believe in God, because if you don't take him, ain't nothing gonna happen.
Yeah. No, definitely. I mean, as I said, you mentioned about switching it up. You had "All I Want," the first single on the track, with Dave Hall, and Dave Hall had done "Real Love" and all that stuff, and incredible producer. Um, and it started off with a great vibe. Um, did you write the lyrics first, and then Dave came the music, or did he
Nah,
just create?
that was totally different. We was at Eddie's house, and I told Dave I always wanted to do that record, Affection. It was just that groove to me that
Mm,
all I want is that was going to be the first single before One Night Stand. Dre flew everybody to LA. The video people, everybody flew
wow.
them to LA. Big Les, Fatima, or everyone.
What?
Yeah, I had all of them. Like Fatima, Big Les, all of them, they were Uptown's girls. If you look at, they was in the Michael Jackson video.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
They were in Heavy D's video. They was in Father MC's video, jodeci's video. I went to Uptown, I mean to MCA, the MCA building in Cali. Dre's there. I got a hit record. Now I'm walking around like, yes. Dre in there looking out the window. We on the 30th something floor. And he's like, I think I'm making a mistake. I'm like, what? What's going on? He's like, I don't think that's the single though. He said, you left off with such a big bang. He says, I'm really thinking about going with this. And I'll never forget, he pulled his hand to the remote and played One Night Stand. He says, that's the record. I was like, but Dre, everybody's here. It's like, so what? He gonna fly everybody back. He did not get a video team, a video guy, and then hire them in LA. He flew everybody from New York
Wow.
out to Cali, the dancers, everybody. He didn't do the pickup like we'll hire people in LA to shoot. No, he did it all from New York, put them on flights. Everybody was looking forward to it. And he said, that's not the single. And then when he put out One Night Stand, I mean, you had to sit back and fasten your seatbelt, because when he put that out, that was the explosion of life. That was it. That was like, I'm here. And to everybody who doubted, could I do it again? Had to give up, saying he's here. He did it.
Wow.
That's why you've answered a question now, because there's two. Uptown has got two very rare 12-inch singles that us as collectors we can't seem to find them. One of them is a group called Key West. They had one single.
Key West.
Yeah, they did a single called "Tomorrow Is Too Late," and I know of only
Kyle, right?
another
Kyle
person
West, right?
who's got
Kyle
that
West,
record.
yeah. Kyle West and Terry
two
Robinson.
people that I know have got that record, and the other one is "All I Want." Now they must have pressed up "All I Want" with those remixes on that nobody can seem to find, and then ditched it and went with "One Night Stand." So I reckon somewhere in a warehouse or some off, there is a box of them
You're
records.
right.
We can't find them. We can't find them anywhere. Don't know
You
what I'm
know,
doing.
I got the remixes.
You need to dig them out for us.
I got the remix. I just gotta find my DAT tapes, but I got all of them because I like Dave Hall did remixes again. We have remixes from everybody, and Dre would not take the risk no more of just doing one song and let's go. Because radio would treat them demanded. They just kept wanting to play something different with Father, so they kept playing different remixes of the record to keep it going. And with All I Want, Dave did a remix that was so dope. The original was beautiful, but the remix, I used to perform that on tour. Like, it was just that groove that drove, And the thing of it is people always loved affection. People loved affection. I go to Wembley Arena, I do Germany, I do Japan, verbatim saying the words, and the record never came out. But I mean, people listen to you. That's how you know people listening to your album, because they know your words verbatim. I'm like, when I knew I made it is when I went to Japan and no one spoke a bit of English, but they knew every word to my record.
Yeah, I mean that's a big thing. And another track close to you with intro.
Well, that was the record for Sonia. I dedicated the record to Sonia, and the album Close to You. Like when I say I want to get close, I just want to get close to
brilliant
you.
record, just so brilliant record that.
I just want.
Thank you. And Dre didn't want to use intro. And I told Dre about intro. And I was trying to get intro signed to Uptown. And Dre Eddie F had him. And I'm like, Dre, what are we doing? Let's get intro. We can do this. And Dre wasn't an intro fan. Dre was funny. Andre Harrell was a funny dude, man. I'm telling you. He laughed with you and everything. And then leave, boy.
But intro gave a different vibe to because we love Jodeci, but intro had a different vibe, and the way they sung the chorus on "Close to You," it was such a
Kenny.
Yeah, Kenny Green. Yeah.
Was you in the studio when they put them vocals down, or was it done separately, Rat?
Huh?
Was you in the studio when they actually sang the vocals, or was it all done? It was actually,
that's why I know it was all Kenny, because Kenny was just a beast. Kenny was a beast, but he was like you said, Kenny was a different beast than Casey and JoJo. He was more he was a doper version of a Horace Brown. Like I could put them two together and get some miracles out of the thing. But I put Horace on my album. On the third album.
Texas Law, we're gonna go to that one because, as I said, we love those.
Everybody before they ever get it, and I heard the talent and I got them. And the thing of it was I wasn't trying to be a businessman back then. I just heard talent, I recognized it, and I snatched it. Come on, get with me. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm surprised they released Everything's Gonna Be Alright. Were they looking to capitalize on Jodeci with Casey and JoJo by releasing that single? Because it's a good single, but it wasn't. They had stronger singles on that album than Everything's Gonna Be Alright. Was it just like, Jodeci's blown up, we need to?
What happened was the record pools and radio demanded that Everything's Gonna Be Alright.
Listen, that record in a club sounds
Yes.
unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yes, that, and you know the you're the record pool. You know how you guys. I don't know if they, they used to send to the record companies. We played your record, and this is what the record's done in my club. And when I saw the stats and everything, so I used to always want to read like what people really had to say. You getting stuff from Germany, from all around Australia, everywhere. And DJs are saying, "This is it. This is it. This is it. This is the record." And
I don't know who mixed and mastered that, because like I say, it was perfect in a club.
Thank you.
It grabbed everyone's attention, really.
Man, y'all just don't understand how much of the appreciation. That's why when I used to go out on the promotional tours, I used to hit up the mom and pops. I used to hit up the manufacturers that, when they had CDs, that used to put the CDs in the case, just to shake their hand, go to the warehouse, just to let them know I appreciate y'all. Send the whole warehouse lunch on me, like just doing stuff like that, shaking hands just to say I appreciate it, because it's a job, but you got to understand, when you go into those record plants and you see them people there, it's like a factory. You get what I'm saying? And they doing your stuff, they working your stuff for you. You going into those in stores, those stores, and you signing autographs and stuff. I used to get so tired it's to the point where I used to give my bodyguards look like, all right, dude, this is it, money. But then somebody else will come up to you with the cry, like, please, could I just do it? Next you know, you be there for another 3 hours.
Yeah.
These messages, Namdi, are flying in here.
Yeah,
from
they are
all
flying
the
in.
listeners. They're absolutely flying in.
There's a lot of love for Red Lace Lingerie, which, as I said, another powerful track. Who sang the? They said do you know who sang the hook for that? Stevie,
You're
you
not
got
gonna
the CD.
believe this. You're not gonna believe who sung the hook. Corey Rooney's sister.
Wow.
Corey Rooney's sister, God bless her. She sung the hook to that, because I always she could sing. She was one of the best singers. There you go. She was one of the best singers.
Brenda Reed, it says here. Is that
Yes, that was Corey Rooney's sister.
Right, I
and
see.
she was one of the best singers I've ever heard. Like,
wow.
With the soul. Like, she was, to me, like, one of my favorite artists is Kelly Price. And she, I love Tina Marie, I love Kelly Price, I love Faith Evans. To me, those are my top 3. This girl, to me, if Corey, I used to always ask Corey, what are you doing? But you let everybody do what they do, but she was incredible. And she give you that soul, that the collard greens and the pasta hot sauce, like gives you that on a record. And when nothing better than working with somebody that gives you that taste of soul, man. Because that's what I look for in records, man. I want that meat. I want that you in church and you smell that food cooking outside the window, and you got your mom's cooking, but you smelling that food, right, coming out the church. Like, give me some of that white rice and gravy, that smothered pork chops and whatever, money. Yeah, she was it. That was it. That Red Lace Lingerie was crazy.
Yeah, another one that I really pat was My Body.
My Body, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, Corey and Prince Marky D, man.
That was crazy. That was crazy. Corey Mooney and Mark.
Yeah,
and ladies, I love them.
Corey's singing the background vocals on that.
Yeah, yeah.
And we didn't realize. I didn't realize he could sing as well as produce.
Man, Corey was a bombshell. Corey would do all the work. Me and Mark would come in and press the buttons to mix the record and whatever. But Corey was the one, but Mark, it worked itself the way it was supposed to work itself out. Marky D, Prince Marky D, formerly from the Fat Boys.
Yeah.
He already put in his dues. He the one who went and got Corey to partner up with. So for him to just come in and, do drops in the record back then, you thought was the shit. Like, oh my God. Just pressing a button, taking the drums out. But Corey was the one that was boom, boom. When he didn't hear something, he's taking it out. He's the director of traffic. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I told you about ladies. I love them, and that's Corey singing in the background. I asked Steve. I said, Steve, who's singing in the background? And it was what the Soul Power, or what was it called? But it
Soul
was Corey,
Convention.
Soul Convention. But that was Corey singing, and now that's another track. I mean, did how did the partnership with yourself with Corey when it comes to making those tracks? Because that was
I tell Corey my idea. I'd hum the melody to him because I'm not a singer, and Corey would just take it from there and start getting his keyboard, and then he'd first get a click track. That's how he'd start, and then he, instead of making the drum pattern, he would put chords down. Then he would build the beat around the piano. And then I'd be like, Corey, make it a little more hip hop, man. You making like I Love You joints. And he was like this, I got you, man. And even though I used to love it, I used to act like I hated it. I used to make it, I'd be like, hip hop, come on. You wanna know what's crazy? This rap group, I'm not gonna say their name, but they said like I sold out on my first album because I did too lovey-dovey, but they knew me when I was a street dude. And this is a top recording group, right? Saying, I'd never have no singing on my stuff. They next album, singing all through it. Singing all through the record. And I never forget, I seen them with the guy from The Source. And I was like, this, yo, Money, you selling out. Yeah. Made it the popular thing to do. Heavy, I got the inspiration from Hev, but I knew for me to come in, I had to take it a step further. And what I wanted to do, I needed the collard greens. I needed that fried chicken. I needed that hot sauce. And that was jodeci. Because what Heavy was doing was perfectly beautiful with him and Al B. Shaw. I loved it. And Eddie F., he's being the driver, and Heavy D's tone was incredible. And it was just, if you listen to that record, somebody for me, and I said, well, I need to, I'm the second tier of Uptown. So everything's on my back. I carried everything. I had to carry the torch for Jodeci. The world didn't know Jodeci. The world didn't know a Mary J. Blige. That I put that on my back. I'm the one who stepped the ladder for them to do it. If I would have took a loss, they would have took a loss. It just so happens that we took a win because of decisions that I had. I was integral in to making that make sense. I'm not gonna go with, I wanted Al. I wanted to do with Al, but my gut was like Al and Heavy already did it. Al B. Shaw was the fucking black Elvis Presley. He was incredible. It should have made all the sense in the world. And I wanted Guy, but I didn't have the budget for Teddy Riley and Guy at that time.
Oh, with Gene Griffin around.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Oh God, Gene Griffin. I remember at the awards. I got stories for days about these cats, man. I'm telling you.
Hey, we're waiting. We're here. Go ahead.
It's gonna be a long night.
The Soul Trade and the Soul Trade Music Award. I forget the awards. The awards that I gave Michael, I was the first artist to give Michael Jackson an award, me and the group Silk. And I had my outfit being dry cleaned at the, and everybody's talking about my suit. I'm walking in we at the Sheridan. We're going up to Aaron Hall's room, me and Teddy. They had suites. I'm walking close. I'm getting to the suite. I'm smelling cigar smoke. So I'm thinking nothing of it. I get to the table. He opens the door. I see these old black husky big dudes, cigars on the table, stacks of water, cash. And these guys is playing. And then I'm knowing Gene Griffin. I was like, oh shit. So I ain't, thinking nothing of it. I'm walking there and he's like this, yo, what's up? I was like, hey, what's up, Jim? What's going on? How y'all doing? And them guys did not say one word. They just looked like this. And this guy never get his cigar and took his money and put it on the table. I was saying to myself, get me the hell out of here. I was like, get me the hell out of here for something to happen at the end of the day. But man, you gotta deal with the ups and downs of this game, man. It's crazy. It's fun. It's dangerous. It's you know, you gotta take the good with the bad, and you gotta work on your craft. That's it. Like basically,
yeah.
you know, stay
Question.
out the way.
A big question is that how come Go Natalie was not featured on Strictly Business,
The
the
CD.
soundtrack?
He's actually in the film. He's played in
Yeah,
the
but
film, but not actually on the
on
soundtrack.
Go
I
Natalie.
I don't know. That's a Jimmy Jenkins question because
Okay.
blew up. The record blew up. I had the best scene in the movie with what's her name?
Halle
Who's
Berry.
Holly Berry? Pardon me, Holly. You know, but Holly was doing her thing, dancing. I had the best scene. That's actually what blew the record up. And I don't even know. It was so crazy because I remember I flew back. I flew back. I think I was in Taiwan or something. I flew back just to record that record. They flew me in from Taiwan. I was in Taiwan. I was going to Korea. They flew me in. I did the lyrics. I dropped the verse. Flew me right back because I had to go to Korea. And that I remember that. I remember that. Yep.
Right. Yeah.
There was one project you worked on again in between the first two albums. I don't know if you even remember doing this. They were like a duo, a dance pop duo called Awe and More, and the record was called Every Other Day, and it's specifically the hip hop mix which you was featured on. Did you do that mix? I don't know if you can remember
Yes.
it.
Yes, I remember. You know what's funny? I'm still friends with her. I'm still friends with her on Instagram. She's my friend, and we're
Wow.
talking about into the studio to do something.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. And
All and
she's still
More.
doing her thing as well. And then I went to Sweden. After I did her, I went to Sweden and I did this girl named Dee Dee. She was like the female Madonna over there in Sweden. I think she was on BMG.
Wow.
And I did her, Dee Dee.
No.
Yeah.
So it was about a year between Close to You, and then you go. Why did you go straight to Sex's Law without the normal 2 year break?
We was touring so much. We was touring so much. And it got to the point where they was rushing me. Let's get this album. Let's get this album. And I wanted to do something different. And I remember I'm going to Teddy Rally now. I go to Teddy. We had a music convention. And I went to him. I was like, I stepped to Teddy. And I said, yo, Teddy, man, listen, man. What's the price? And let's get down. Because now I can do what I want. What we going to do? He told me the price. And even though it's huge to regular people, like to normal people, to me, I was like, I really want to say, that's it. 260,000. I was like, that's it. I'm thinking he was like $1 million or something. I said, hold up. I ran to Tim Dog, Butt Naked Tim Dog. He was my A&R at the time.
No, he was all over the album.
Tim Dog. And I went to Tim Dog. I said, yo. And he said, stop lying. I told him Teddy's price. Teddy said, call Donna and let's set it up. We called Donna and it was set up. Dre, next thing you know, I had just bought a brand new Beamer. I bought the 550 Beamer and we drove. I wanted to break it in. So we drove from New York to Virginia. But I never should have did it because all the weed he was smoking at the time, we driving. And we weed that was illegal back then. But we got there and I see Rex in Effect. As soon as we pull it up, I see Rex in Effect and they gambling outside. I'm a gambler. So they playing my game, CeeLo. And they was cracking us. I was cracking them. But Teddy was inside. And he had just bought the 550, the new 550. I never forget this. I'm breaking everybody. Teddy comes with huge wads of cash. Like, I'm taking all of it back. And I couldn't say no, like, I don't want to gamble no more. I was like, let's go, money. End up cleaning me out. Cleaning me out. But I got heavy, though. I got Heavy at the Vibe photo shoot. I cleaned Heavy out. God bless him, but I cleaned Heavy out. And Andre Harrell like, your father, man, give Heavy back his money, man. That wasn't right. You crazy. Crazy. I ain't giving nobody nothing. I ain't giving nobody. And Heavy used to have these dice games at his house. He used to always invite me. I'm saying, I ain't going nowhere.
Uh,
Wow.
before we get into Sex is Law, the question was, why did you drop MC from Father on Sex is Law and just call yourself Father? What happened?
You know, it was nothing that happened. It was just a simple, everybody was calling me father, and I was going for change. And I just dropped the MC. Rich, I never really dropped. We never had like a press conference like Father's dropping MC.
Press conference.
You know, we ain't never do that. What we did was I just said Father, put Father on the album. You know,
Okay.
and it didn't do anything because at the end of the day, a lot of people call me Father, a lot of people call me Father MC. And, you know, you got to understand, I had that name. My school teachers was calling me Father when I was in school in Far Rockaway, Brooklyn. Well, not Brooklyn, but Far Rockaway. I got kicked out of Brooklyn. I was 15. The judge. Yeah, I turned Father MC going to high school, and the teachers. I went to summer school, and the teachers was calling me Father, 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 and they had this thing called the 5 percenters back in the day. We had guards, peace guard, and this cooking teacher, my cooking teacher, she just screams. They all building, they doing their mathematics and everything, and she says, "Father, get to class." And I mean, in slow motion, stuff just stopped, and all you heard was "Peace God, peace God." I was like, "Oh shit, here we go."
Before we get into the album, there's some questions here. So, ask me about the artist Tez and gaming and the gaming album.
Tease.
Tease. Yeah, they sing "I Will
What
Do."
is the album cover? What is the album cover? She's straddled.
I have no idea. That was the label that did that crazy stuff, man.
Wow.
That was a forced release, though. That was forced. Like, those were my girls that was going to do it. I found them out of Miami. I was doing records with Luke at the time, Luke Skywalker. And I found the girls' tees. And I did an album. I flew them to New York, put them up. We sleeping in the studio for like 3 months, getting this album. I bought out Power Play Studios where we recorded for like 3 months. They couldn't even have nobody there. That was our home. And we was recording and everything, and Tease would have done it. Tease would have done it if they put it out unmixed and everything. That's how crazy they were. Yeah. And they couldn't. We didn't
some
even
of the tracks. The bass was just like, whoa! You had to turn the bass down on some of the tracks.
Yeah. And it was Jeffrey Collins that put that out. Yep, I remember that.
So there's another question. Did Father play CeeLo with members of the Light Shades of Brown?
See, I played CeeLo with everybody. I was trying to get everybody money. I played CeeLo with the priests. I mean, I was going.
How did you end up working with these guys? For sure.
So for sure, that's my guy Livio. He's in the music business now. He turned executive. Kurt Woodley was managing them, and they paid me to get on their record. They flew me out. I was on tour again. They flew me out. We did the video on the beach, you know, and they were signed to, where they signed? They were signed to Uptown or MCA.
It was a rough house.
Roof House. Yeah. Roof House Music. Yeah, but they was managed by Uptown, I believe.
They were like
me and Livio still cool to this day.
One of many R&B New Jack that just kind of put a great album record out, but just kind of fell away, you know.
Hold on for 1 second, please. You see this guy right here? If he start, we gonna start it. We got Jimmy Jenkins, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jimmy Jenkins, VP of Uptown Records. I taught him a lot of stuff. He had that Bronx swagger. but I had to, put that far rock Queens thing on him.
All right, let me correct you. I'm a co-founder of Uptown Records, and then you put the VP behind it. All right, don't
Also,
get it twisted
president
ever.
of media.
What you sitting in the King's Lear?
I'm sitting in my piano room.
All right.
I'm sitting in my piano room. Do I need to go somewhere else?
No, you good.
Do I
No,
need to
the
go to the
skyway
pool
is
room
good.
or the
See it
theater? Or
right,
maybe to my car lot outside? What you mean?
right, right. All right, okay. I got it. So,
Oh,
why don't you introduce me to everybody that's here so I can know
Yeah,
who
so
I'm talking.
Jimmy, yeah, apart from this, Stevie, he's so we do our New Jackson podcast Friday, so Sunday nights, and so
How you
Stevie's
doing,
a
sir?
he's a music
Okay.
collector and a New Jackson expert. So yeah, so he has every album, every single that you can think of, New Jack or hip hop, R&B. He has it. Um, Fran, a quick question: was something for the radio the first time Jimmy Jenkins was on an first and only time Jimmy was on an Uptown album?
you know, Jimmy, I think, wanted to be an artist in his past life or something.
Right. I
He
did.
wanted to be an artist, you know, but Jimmy was always like the cool one. And he used to, I was the clown from Queens coming into a label of like halfway gangsters. And if you came to Uptown and let's say your socks was messed up, just go quit your job, money, because you're gonna get tortured. And when they hired you at Uptown, you would go to work and then you would go to a club and you would damn near have to make it a way to get home to take a shower to be back at work. It was crazy. It was like a college dorm to me.
The next morning.
And
Like I
Jimmy,
told you.
Jimmy had the fear of God at everybody that worked at Uptown. That's the funny part. So I used to always come in and make jokes. When my record was coming out, I was like, I used to be the like artist go in there. Look, I ain't worried about nothing. Because if my records ain't getting played, somebody's getting fired, buddy. And next thing you know, they start trying to crack back jokes with me. And I'd be like, yo, Jimmy, like, Jimmy, we got a problem. Jimmy would fly in and fire you. He was ruthless, man. This dude was ruthless. I remember at the music conventions, he had all of his reps at a table. He had all of them at a table. And they trying to tell on me because we went to Chicago and the girl Rhonda picked us up in a van. Now you got Fall MC, a big artist. She picking us up in a white van. I'm like, okay, we hungry. She's like, well, we can't eat because we got to go do radio. We forced her to take us to Kentucky Fried Chicken. So we ordering nothing but coleslaw. She got on a meat coat. Next thing you know, we ordered. She found it so funny that we ordering nothing but coleslaw, mashed potatoes, and biscuits. We didn't order no chicken, right? Next thing you know, soon as she said a word, we all mad. Here go the biscuit getting thrown in the bed. Boom. We we hit her head, and she's like, ah! And then next thing you know, all you seen was coleslaw cups just flying.
So,
Yo,
that's just one of father's antics of abuse that I didn't have no part of.
you have us
She
waiting. You have us waiting at an airport for 2.5 hours, and then it's snowing outside, and then you come and pick us up in a white van. Okay, you're about to get the Queen's effect. We're gonna show you what Queen's cats do. And
yeah.
and then they tried to bill me for her mink coat. They tried to bill her
They
whole
did
mink
bill you
coat.
for a
Her
mink
mink
coat.
coat was filled with coleslaw and biscuits.
So let me tell you about these type of situations, and these situations are a learning experience for everybody because everybody that was there at Uptown was new. knew at doing what they were doing. You know what I mean? Like, so there was a revolving door of promotional people, marketing people, because we were trying to find the right people that could do the job effectively and knew the job. So we a new company, so we couldn't hire somebody that was at MCA for 10 years doing this or 15 years doing this already. We had to hire somebody off of the street or just coming out of college. And Rhonda was just coming out of Howard University, along with a lot of the people that we hired. Tonya Savant, she did the
Tonya.
West Coast. She was coming out of Howard, and we had a real connection to Howard University and its students and the people at Howard. And so we hired Rhonda and Tonya damn near graduation day. And they came to work for Uptown. So one of the first artists they encountered was, of course, Father MC. Because we had Father on a promotional tour right away. Because Father, I don't know if y'all went over this part. Father is the one that was responsible for introducing Jodeci and Mary to, their record deals, and their first records coming out. He had them on his record at first. Both of them almost simultaneously too. And they both were, Mary was just being established, but Jodeci was already a hit. And so not really a hit, excuse me. They were just putting out their hit record, their first record. And so Father introduced them in terms of taking them on tour, promotional wise. And that's a new experience for everybody. It's a new experience for, all the promotional people, the marketing people that have to. So this guy with his antics, he used to play a lot of jokes on the promotional people and the marketing people. And one joke that he did very well was run their credit card up to the point where they would be able to get fired. And 'cause you would be like, well, how could you go for that shit? You why would you allow this man to put you through that? So he was one of those guys. That was a practical joker, but in defense of all the people that worked at Uptown, is that they were brand new and we were all being educated as on the job training right then and there. And
Man.
even with me dealing with the brass at Universal or Warner Brothers, these people were much more experienced than I was. But what they didn't have was the ability to take everything to the street. And that's what Uptown was about. We took everything to the street first.
Yep.
We took it to the barbershops, the beauty salons, the lunchrooms, the restaurants, all the top restaurants. We would be sitting there with all of our artists and maybe 20 or 30 people were employees there. And one of the things we did was, which no one was accustomed to, but Andre and maybe myself a little bit, was to get up and say a little something about yourself. Tell us a little something about yourself. So we would ask Father MC to tell us a little something about himself. And, of course, he would be lying. And he would he would be saying that he was the greatest artist before he even got at Uptown. He always had that level of confidence. And then we get to Heavy, and he'd be moody, and he'd get up and say whatever he wanted to say about himself. But most of the people couldn't answer that question, and it was the more we did it, the more comfortable it became.
Yep.
And so this is like artist development, the training, the clothes that they wore, the way they spoke, the way they talked, the haircuts, everything, all the way down to their shoes, the socks. Everything was designed. It was a blueprint every night. Me and Andre would go home. I told you this before halftime, and go home and describe what everything would look like the next day and in the year coming also. So none of this was by accident. So no success was by accident. The failures were by accident, that's for sure. But the successes were. And also on Father's record, he had a bunch of artists that had been at Uptown already, but they weren't able to come out. But they were great songwriters and producers and
Mm.
stylists. And like, for instance, G Wiz, and Father probably had this in his crew too. G Wiz was the choreographer and the stylist for Heavy D and the Boys. That's when we didn't hire a stylist, or we didn't have a Sybil, or we didn't have a Lorianne Gibson. That's before that. You had your own dancers and you had your own people. So father will go in the studio and they'll come up with their look, and how, we had to put the blueprint stamp on it and make sure it was right. It was Uptown right. But they would come up with their look. They would come up with their choreography. They would come up with how the band would sound, how the production would look, and everything. You know what I mean? And all of
Yeah.
it was just starting.
Mhm. I
But
mean,
father, to his credit, he opened the door for Uptown. You know what I mean? And for us to bring all these different artists through there with hit records. And another thing I told you about the Uptown Cat logo. Once we established that logo, every time a radio programmer or anybody seen that logo, they automatically put it in rotation because they knew there was hit records coming behind it.
Yep. Yep.
so Jimmy, when he came out with Sex's Law, because that was his first R record,
Mhm.
where and he's 69. I know that there was a lot of controversy about the
Mhm.
record, and Father will talk about that. But for as a promotions guy, was it tough selling? I mean, Hit 69 went platinum, but was it tough selling that record because it was, the
No,
subject matter?
the record company didn't want to promote it, but we had a machine in place that we promoted our own records. We established our records. We You have to schedule records to get on the schedule at Universal or any major record company. The way that they pick your record to be on the schedule, now you got to compete with Bobby Brown. You got to compete with, New Edition, Mint Condition, Jody Watley, and all the superstars they had. What those stars didn't have was street cred. They didn't take their records, like I said, to the barbershops, to the beauty salons, to the clubs, to the restaurants. They didn't have the relationship that we have with DJs around the world, around the country. They didn't have that. They didn't get to move around the way we did.
And
We
and
could put
and to
together a tour and go
and
to
to
Paris.
hold
But
on. Let me say this. With MCA in Uptown, it was MCA was our parent company. And like
mhm.
when I was coming out with One Night Stand, it was so coincidental because Lil Salas, it was me, Jimmy, Bob Celestin, and Andre at MCA office. I don't know if you remember this, Jim, but I was coming with One Night Stand, and they was playing our records, and Bobby Brown and myself had the exact same sample, the One Night Stand, the doom 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 doom
Oh
doom.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
Mhm.
One more
and
chance. Yeah.
and the thing that was crazy was MCA in every Billboard magazine. MCA had in every magazine from the Vibe to Source, Bobby Brown with his black leather thing on, and then
Mm.
the side picture and back of his page was Father MC One Night Stand album cover, and I mean single cover, and that was they tried to put us in like competition a little bit. It felt like, but One Night Stand was just so powerful. I wasn't afraid of it at all, and
Wow.
No,
they
but also it was Bobby was his record from Teddy. Is it the record you talking about from Teddy?
Yeah, one more
I
night.
think so.
Yeah,
I
it was the
think
Was
one
so.
more
One Night
night.
Stand made by Teddy? Yeah.
No,
But
No,
Teddy
One
did
Night Stand
one more
was
69
night.
Eddie
was.
S.
He did one more
Right.
night. Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
Eddie
Yeah.
F, even Eddie F, like it being made by Eddie F, that's still like a record made by Teddy, because Eddie F is Teddy
Eddie
Riley's
F is
student.
Teddy. Right, right, right.
You know what I mean? Eddie F is Teddy Riley's student. Um, Eddie F is Teddy Riley's student. Al B. Shore is Teddy Riley's student. These guys
Kyle West.
learned under Teddy. Teddy gave them all the information, and so a lot of their musical style, sounds similar. And a
Yeah.
lot of the music they would use would be similar to the music that he
Yep.
would use. And so One Night
What was the
Stand
cost? What
was
was the cost of clearing all these samples? Because it obviously on all
it
your
was a
albums.
huge cost.
I was
And
gonna say,
at that time it cost us a lot because We
hundred
didn't clear
thousand
all the
albums.
samples before we used them. So we got totally abused, as you could know, as you would know, as a result of not doing that. And that's one of the educations that we got, you know. Like I said, everything was brand new. So there was different components to everything that we did, and we had to learn each and every one of them. You understand? And so publishing was one of them. Then mechanical and producers royalties was another. I mean, agreements were another. Then, you know, just scheduling it and getting on the schedule and trying to understand how to put records on the schedule. Like I said, there were big artists that were automatically scheduled on the schedule because they were MCA proper. And we weren't. We were
Right.
like a subsidiary company. So we had to fight for scheduling positioning. And that usually went down to how hot the record was. So, like I was saying, we had to take the records to the street, take it to radio, take it to, you know, MTV raps or whatever, create a buzz, you know, big enough for us to knock somebody out of that place, whether it was mint condition, new edition. And we did that so well, we became the main uh, a component to the scheduling companies. We had Father MC, we had Mary J. Blige, we had the new Jodeci, we had the, you know, all the new acts that was coming out, Heavy D and the Boys. All of these were new acts, and Heavy was the first act to break ground at MCA, and but you know, and start having them treat us like we're MCA proper, because they got to get their own records off directly. They have to split money with us, but their records that are signed directly to them, that was their priority at the time and
Right.
more beneficial to them. So we had to force our way into that.
Father, with 69, did you write the lyrics first and then Teddy provided the beats, or did he come up with it? How did that work for
Nah,
69?
Teddy. I went to the studio. Teddy made the beat right there, right there, and I was just like, it was so incredible to see him work. Just to see this man work, I was like, because I never worked with him. I've been in the studio with him, but I never worked with Teddy. And to see him work, and I remember when he made it, I liked it, but I didn't like 69. I flew in, they flew me in the second time, and I was trying to write it, and I was like, whatever. And we had a pool party at my house, and I was going the next day to go back to Teddy. I went there. I said, let's go. And what came to my mind was we was in Virginia and we was at Hampton Beach, and we saw all the girls with, half naked. And they said, Mike, what comes to your mind? I was like, 69. I'm horny, I admit it. I get psycho when I'm licking. I'm poking the panani another. And that's when they had somebody's knocking the boots. That's when they had going downtown, SWV. So I think, and if you listen to 69, I'm suggestive, but I'm not really saying nothing crazy. I'm being as respectful as possible. And it was crazy.
Being
On this,
respectful as possible.
on this CD single, there's a completely different verses and lyrics.
Yes, because they had me write the record like 15 times.
Yeah. There's a whole
They had
CD
me,
of
and then
different
at the
lyrics.
Apollo, this was crazy. At the Apollo, they said, do your clean version. Now, I just wrote this clean version, and I'm doing the Apollo. And I don't think that MCA understood you will get booed at the Apollo. And the Apollo, I was petrified of, but I ripped it every time I'd go on the Apollo. I would kill it. They told me to do the version. I got up there on that stage, when I walked on the Apollo, I was already scared of the Apollo. I walk on the stage, that shit they said went out the window, and I just did my regular version. I'm horny, I admit it. I just ain't going out. And we tore the Apollo down. We tore the
Ripped it
Apollo
apart.
down.
Ripped it apart out of fear.
Yes. Yes. I tell you, the Apollo, no matter what stage I was on, the Apollo always scared me. Walking in front of 50,000 people at the garden or whatever the case may be, nothing to me. Let's go. Walking on that Apollo stage, that small room, shoot.
Were you surprised how successful 69 became, despite the controversy?
No, because I
69,
knew that we
MCA
had
never
the right
wanted it.
team.
Yeah,
I knew.
MTA never wanted 69 to come out. They thought it was disrespectful. And Andre
Yep.
didn't want it to come out at the end of, because we were at the end of the album. Am I right? We had put
Yeah.
out 3 or 4 singles already. And
No,
this
no,
was
no,
going
no. 69 came out first. On
to,
the
okay.
third album, 69 came out first.
All right.
Yeah.
But
But
anyway, they gave us a hard time promoting it because they thought it was the lyrics were too risque.
Yeah.
You know,
It was a
but
hard
they,
hitting record. You can't deny it. But it got played everywhere in the clubs. It was a
right,
massive banger. You know.
right. Right. And that's where it usually starts though, is in the clubs though. In the clubs, the barbershop, the beauty salon,
Yep.
the restaurants, once you started getting it played there, then after immediately radio is gonna pick it up because it's the hot thing on the street, and that's how it goes. And the next thing you know, you on Yo MTV Raps, that helped tremendously, and we had a great relationship with Fab Five Freddy. Even until today, we still do. Um, the people at MTV always wanted to come to our parties and events because we gave the biggest parties and events. And Father would perform, Mary would perform, Jodeci, and some of our older acts would, newer acts would perform, like So For Real. But when they seen Chill Mitchell would be there, he was no longer a part of the Uptown record label, but he was a big part of Uptown. So they had a group called Groove Be Chill. They would be there, and all the people that contributed to Uptown, the Nelson George, that didn't work there. Like, we have Leonardo DiCaprio there, Toby Maguire, all at our parties. Everybody wanted to come. And at this time, before the white parties, we invented the white parties. It was called the cream parties,
The
and
cream parties, right?
we would have these parties at the boat basin in Central Park. And when you went there, everybody was there. Every record label president, everybody was there. So all of our artists got an opportunity to perform in front of the people that make everything happen. The program directors, the owners of these radio stations, television stations, record companies. Doug Morris is there. So it was different than the way that New Edition, they had to go through the system, the people, the employees. We went straight from Andre Harrell to the boss, and that helped our visibility tremendously, and helped Father's visibility tremendously.
Father, you had the second single on Sex is Law, a Pete Rock production. I think he sampled In Vogue, R&B Swinger.
R&B swinger.
I
And to
mean,
let you know, Pete Rock was signed to Eddie F as a producer, so it came out of Untouchables. That's Eddie F, who
yeah.
had everything to do with Uptown and the music that came out of Uptown.
I
Yeah,
think
I
there
mean,
was only two singles. There was only two singles released. It was the I Beat You and 69. They're the two singles I do remember getting released.
but I'm
Yeah,
surprised.
I beat you. We shot the video in Manhattan. I beat you, and Andre was. I think all of us were shooting our videos at the same time. Jodeci was shooting one, Mary was shooting one, and I was shooting at the same time in different locations.
Yeah, but I'm surprised because I think R&B Swinger and Sex is Law were probably stronger singles than I
Could
Beat
have
You.
been
I Beat You
singles.
was a good,
Could have been
Well,
but
singles.
I
Yeah,
think, but I
well,
yeah.
I'm
think
gonna tell
R&B
you
Swinger.
about 69. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying that I think R&B Swinger and Sex is Law was produced by Clark Kent, and
With Horace
R&B
Brown.
Swinger. Yeah, I think those two are bigger singles, more powerful singles than I Beat You. So I was surprised that they weren't given priority
Well,
after
the
69.
69, I'm pretty sure, because I remember arguing about it, that they wanted to stop it because of the lyrics. They didn't want it to, and it was the last single. It wasn't the first single. It definitely wasn't the first single. It was the last single. And I had
Nah,
already,
69 was the first single on
That got
69 on the
released.
third album. That was the first
yeah,
single.
That got released. Yeah,
Yeah, that was the first single on 69, Sex is Law.
yeah.
that
But
that
yeah,
curtailed the success of the album because MCA the complete success of the album, should I say? Because MCA wanted that record off of there. I know that they didn't want, to put that out, and it was a problem because of the lyrics.
Okay.
MCA should have been in the record stores because I was in the record stores at the time, the weekends buying new music. That record was flying out on 12 inch.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
bought this. I bought
no
the
doubt.
single. I bought the
And
maxi
I
single.
had a guy that did retail for me, Nephew Santana. He passed away, rest in peace. He was one of the people that promoted everything at retail, so I knew the activity on the song and everything like that, and that was one of my arguments too. They just it was getting to the point where it was us against them, and there was
Plus, you
getting
had
ready to be a
Teddy's name on the
changing
record.
of a guard, huh?
You had Teddy's name on the record. That sold it as well as obviously
Yeah,
being, hearing
Right.
it. That was a
but
massive plus.
Now, whose name? I didn't get
no
that.
Teddy, because Teddy did the
Oh,
production.
Teddy's
Teddy was
name
hot.
on it. Yeah,
But
definitely.
I guess, Father, you told me when we first interviewed that there was a lot of heat, of, civil heat around the record. Not the lyrics talk, but as you mentioned, when that people were really activists complaining about the fact that you
Yeah.
came out with
Well, I
so,
remember. I remember we had a show. We were headed to Atlanta, and there was a Bible Belt. Atlanta's a Bible
mm,
Belt state, and they protested against at B103, a P1 station. They
wow,
Hmm.
protested. A lady protested because she heard the song driving her son to church or picking him up from school, one or the other. And she protested and called MCA and tried to
yeah.
get the record to get stopped from playing on the station.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that
so
was
that's what
crazy.
Jim. Okay, so that's because I think when you listen to the album, you're like, man, these are R&B swinger, sexist law. I beat you as you mentioned, and I guess even she gets it pumping. So I guess what Jimmy's saying is that
Once she gets it pumping, you know who I got on that record, right? The female.
is that Little Kim?
That's Lil
Teddy
Kim.
Robinson.
No,
Oh,
Little Kim. I put Little Kim on the record. I put Little Kim on wax before anybody.
Wow.
Yeah,
mhm.
Little Kim.
Wow.
I met her. She was dealing with Tyrone Fife, the producer, and Teddy Riley. When I went to go see Teddy, I met Little Kim, and we hit it off. And I put Little Kim on that. Once she gets pumping, it's hard to make the hottie stop. And looking at Little Kim at the time, I started writing what I felt.
Oh, oh. So I think what Jimmy's been saying is that the heat got too much. That MCA pulled the plug on. So they told them Uptown probably pull the plug on pushing the album. Just be no more videos. Just we don't want the
Right.
heat anymore.
Just what they
Yeah,
didn't want the heat. They didn't
Even
want
though
the
the
heat.
album, the
But
single had gone gold platinum, they
right,
just said, we just don't.
right.
Okay.
And at that time, regardless of what, even album cuts, everything went out the door with us. We were able to sell everything. Like when they pulled the plug on a certain album or an album was allegedly over in their eyes, we would still be working the records. We would still be working the singles, but also the album cuts, so that you knew the entire album, the entire body of work. It is not like we just backed away from the album. We just kept supporting it, period. Even 1, 2, 3 years later, we kept going to stations and places where the record would be constantly getting played or be a part of the playlist. We never gave up on anything. That's why now, if you go back into Uptown's catalog right now in terms of streaming, you're going to see that it has a lot of activity there on various albums, on all of the albums, really. Even albums that weren't directly signed to us at Uptown Universal,
Mm.
the girls, they were signed at Capitol. They were Universal, assumed Capitol. Now they're part of the Universal system. They're re-releasing all this stuff. I'll be sure. Um, the girls, any groups that we had at Uptown outside of Universal, they're releasing it right now and it's selling in Europe right now and all over the world right now. And Uptown Proper Records are selling all over the world right now. If you look right now, you look at the streaming components and you see the activity there with Father MC, Heavy D, and Mary constantly, these things are constantly being sold right now as if we just released them yesterday.
Mm.
Get
Father,
a big track on that soundtrack as well. Pimp a Die.
Oh,
Yeah,
that was
Pimp or Die.
yeah.
Now, who did that? Who
I did
produced
that.
that?
That was the soundtrack record I did on the Who's the Man soundtrack.
Pimp a Die.
Pimp or
That was
Die.
in
Before
Harlem.
50
That
Cent,
record
before
Right,
50
that record
Cent.
was a big I mean, it was huge in Harlem.
right,
That was the law, Pimp or Die to my
Big track.
uptown, got a Pimp or
right.
Big
Die.
track.
I
And
came
then
to
I
London.
don't know. You gotta give Tim Dog a lot of credit.
Yeah. I came
He
to
made these
London
records with
and them people was begging me to perform Pimp or Die, and I could not believe it. Like when I came to London, it was like I walked out in the audience at the Wembley Arena, and people was like while I'm rapping my other songs, they like, Father, please sing Pimp or Die. And I'm looking at people like this, like, for real?
You
Listen,
was
And
looking
I
at him
was like
like,
shocked.
back then
thank
we
you
had a
for
lot of
acknowledging me. I'm happy.
pirate radio playing it in the UK. It was all pirate radio playing underground black music, and that was getting played. It was getting played
Right.
everywhere at the time.
Wow.
That's probably why they knew it.
Yeah, they
yeah.
knew
So
that record.
now that record right there was a big record, and another record that was controversial at Universal. You gotta remember, Universal was ran. Everybody was older, and the whole staff was older, so they wasn't with any cutting edge music, talking about pimps, hoes, pimping, none of that. we had to go to war all the time, and every
And you
record we
gotta
were getting
realize
ready to
too,
release had
you gotta
something
realize
about
too
pimping.
that
Every record we
they're
was
used
getting
to
ready to release
delivering,
had something about pimping or hoeing.
but
So
they're used to also releasing Treat Them Like You Want to Be Treated by Father.
yeah.
Everything's gonna be all right. One Night Stand, Lisa Baby. To now you
Mhm.
coming out with I wanna hit you with a 69
That
to
album
Pimp
was
or
a big
Die.
shift. It was a big like Heavy D. He shifted in
Yeah, Blue
With
'93,
Blue
Funk. Yeah.
Funk.
Right.
and you shifted on this album. It was a really big
Yeah,
shift. You know,
yeah. And you
Heavy
see
D
how
shifted to Blue Funk because of the tragedies that happened in everybody's life. Troy, Trouble T. Roy,
yep,
he
well,
passed
yeah.
away, and it was a dark period. So the Blue Funk was a dark period for us, And then Father just got brighter with his pimps and hoes shit.
Yeah. Yeah. But then, I guess I guess one of the things would be good just to find out from you though is you start off with Father's Day, Close to You, then you had Sexist Law. When you think about those three albums, which would you think would be your favorite out of those three?
uh well, it's the first album. I had fun. I had fun because I had nothing about the industry. I'm learning. The second album was more. I know who I am now. I'm getting money around the world. I'm becoming who I set out to become. And the third album is I'm Here. So my favorite song that I love performing the most is One Night Stand. It just does something to me when I'm on that stage, whether I'm in a house full of 100 people to 50 to 100,000. I'm tearing it up. I'll Do For You is a set off. Treat Them Like You Want to Be Treated is the baby. Everything's going to be all right. Everybody gets on the floor. Lisa Baby is just, again, Lisa Baby is like a Pimp or Die. It's like so many people knew that record.
Mm.
So many people, and then Affection wins all the time. And just keep going on like here we go, here we go, here we go. Sex's Law with me and Horace Brown.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Like
I love this. Yeah.
Dre had a powerful thing about Dre knew what he was doing. And he knew the artists that he was signing, and if he signed you, he was putting everything into you. But he had some spoofs that he signed just for favors, and you never heard nothing from them cats ever.
Well, everybody, even when they didn't do great, they went on to do great things in other areas of entertainment.
Yeah,
And I just mentioned Chill Mitchell, who became a huge like film star, television
I talk
star,
to
and
Chill to this day.
right.
Yep.
So and a lot of people went on to do better things in terms of the artists that didn't come out, but they're great songwriters. They were on other projects. You got people like Crystal Johnson, who's amazing,
And
songwriter and singer, and went on to do great things. You got Terry Robinson, who sang on Father's Records, One Night Stand. That's her vocals, and she went on to
that's
be
Mary.
the ASCAP's biggest writer in the world, write for Mary J. Blige, everybody. She started off writing with Guy,
Yo, Jimmy,
so
One Night
she was
Stand
a
was
member
Mary,
of the
right?
girl.
You know One
Oh,
Night
that was
Stand was
Mary,
Mary
but
J.
I thought that was Terry in the background,
No, Terry did
also. But
TV. Terry did TV with me. That was all Mary.
oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Well,
gotta
I
sometimes correct
apologize.
this guy, man. He'll
Yeah,
have you thinking that the
you,
sky is pink.
yeah,
You
So
let him keep going.
Terry,
You let him. I'm trying to let him go a little
yeah.
bit. You know,
I'm just letting you
I'm
know
trying to let
whether
him go a
right or
little bit,
wrong.
but then he gets in this little funk where he starts really. I'm feeling myself.
That's arrogance. It's called arrogance.
You see
yeah,
what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
Terry was on All I Want. It says
Yeah,
on
Terry was
Yeah.
on All I Want
on
with
All I Want.
oh,
intro.
okay, okay.
Terry was intro and Terry. They did excellent with that record. Excellent.
hmm I'm just
I'd,
Yeah.
telling you,
I'd argue though this is your most mature album, the second one.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think my favorite is Close to You album. I think
Not
there
even
was a
up for
lot.
debate. This album's a killer
Yeah,
album.
I
This.
think
yeah,
I think that's your best, and then I think Sex is Lost second, and I think Father's Day is third. But I think there are more hits. I think the production with Corey and Prince
Mark
Marky
and
D.
Corey. Yep.
Yeah, getting Eddie F on those tracks and Dave Hall. I just love the tracks. It was hard. I mean, I could have hit 10 songs, 8 tracks from that to make my top 10. But yeah, I think that was your best all round.
What
But
Uptown was
Well,
known
Mark
for.
Morales was part of the Fat Boys.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Marky
told him
D.
that.
Yeah.
yeah, but then
You know
Fado,
what?
why didn't that album, even though it was in '92, it didn't blow? It had some
Uptown
the
Dre
hits.
had a thing where he kept you in the eye. He kept on like I can get this guy in the studio and do an album. Kept it coming. It was dead points with him. And the thing of what it was they used to have to slow me down because
Oh, the
they
signatures.
had to say, all right, let's pull him and let's get this album because I could have stayed on tour for like 4 years, 3 years,
Forever.
just touring.
Forever. Forever. We went on tour. We was on tour. I was on tour with other artists for at least 15 years straight.
Wow.
So when Father comes, you know, you get a hit record and you go out on tour, and that it wasn't as hostile as it is now. You go out on tour
Right.
right now with 100,000 people, then there's people getting killed in the audience and this, that, and it was none of that. And we did 23,000 seat, 30,000 seat arenas, but we also did 2,500 square, 2,500 seat arenas, 500 seat arenas. We tried to cover all the bases, when on tour. So, it was and the money was different then too. The money was, a lot different because now if a father would have put out Father's Day album or 69 right now, he possibly would fuck around and that record could generate about $75 million worth of income
Mm.
right now. That
Yeah.
one record, you know what I mean? You look at Cardi B, that's the kind of numbers that she does right now. And I don't know if her records were as good, but it don't matter. You know,
Yeah.
now is a different time and a different period.
Right.
Wow. Well, Father, we've kept you for a long time. So just before we wrap up, because you've been a trooper, and it's been great having Jimmy coming on as well. Um, if you were thinking of your top 10 Uptown singles, I know you say One Night Stand's your first one, but what will make your top 10 singles?
For me, or for me, or for Father MC.
Yeah, for you. Yeah. So you
Um,
send from your Uptown albums.
One Night Stand, I'll Do For You. Everything's gonna be all right. Treat them like you want to be treated. I Come Correct. R&B Swinger. Affection as well. Um, Father's Day. Father's Day.
Oh,
Also, Ladies, I Love Them,
mm,
and Red Lace Lingerie.
okay. I've got
Yeah.
a okay. Yeah, you didn't pick too many from Sex's Law, but I thought
69, 69, 69, and 69, and Once She Gets Pumping was my record too. I love, and that dun 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 dun, A Party Ain't a Party. That was my
okay,
record. That's the
okay.
record I was disappointed with Uptown. Like, they could have took that record, and that record could have been like a summertime record. But I was an artist then, so
At the time, too, once you get past 3 singles, there's no more. At that time, there wasn't any more records coming
earlier.
out
Yeah,
after that. Yeah.
Yeah, but
right.
Father, why did you leave Uptown after Sex's Law? Or-
I just wanted to really. I never left Uptown. That's the thing. Like, people always say I never. One thing that's good is I was the artist that never got dropped. I never got dropped. I wanted to do other things in business instead of being father. And I know being an artist was going to do it. I wanted the vacation. I wanted, my dad had passed away. So it was a lot of things. And I just wanted to chill for a minute. And I couldn't chill because they always wanted me to make records.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. Okay.
like me and Dre and Jim, me and Jimmy in business right now as we speak. We're doing something that's crazy with F Media. But we're like me and Dre used to, anytime, like, Dre offered me jobs at Motown when he took over Motown. Flew me in, Father, what you doing? You want to, be turn the executive coat. And he always made sure I was right. I was Dre's favorite artist, but he had loyalty to Heavy D because Heavy D was his first artist. Like, Uptown was going to get passed to me, but he gave it to Heavy, which I knew that was coming. Um, I had a record company called Top Dog. I had the group Five Deep that was coming, and I was playing basketball with Dre and Russell Simmons at the YMCA every Sunday for damn near 6 months. And I had the deal. They flew my group in, and then next thing all of the people got into their ears of Dre, like, yo, well, X-Father, what he's gonna do different. The same thing I did for y'all when I bought y'all Jodeci and Mary J. Blige. This time it's gonna be under Top Dog / Uptown / MCA. But
Well,
you know, I never took hold to it because I always did play by play, and I knew that I was setting up for greater and other things to come my way. And that's why, I never complained. Everybody complained about their contracts, and they the things they go through. I'm living a very, very, very nice life. You get what I'm saying? And I haven't put out a record, and people think I'm selling records right now, going platinum right now because of the way I live. So God's blessed me with the right people in my corner and to make the right decisions. Don't ask people for anything. I never was one of these cats to go to Diddy and like, yo, Diddy, can I borrow something? Yo, why don't you help me do that? I never did that. Never did. I wasn't raised
Can I,
like that. I was cut from a different cloth. I never hung out. Let's party. Of course, that was just me. That was my style. I always was a loner. But you get me on that stage and I'm destroying everything in my way. Everything.
Yeah.
That was the truth.
Stevie, go ahead.
I mean, I kept buying Father MC albums beyond Uptown. There was Life After Uptown. There was these several you know, you kept going, you
Yes.
stayed in the game. And I want to say something controversial, but I feel like Rick Ross based half his career off you. You know what I mean? But I don't know who dared say that, but I always felt that. You know,
You
it's the
know,
Rick Ross, the so-called
you know,
boss that I felt. He built his
you know,
based half his career off you.
everybody takes a little bit of something from everybody. You know, R. Kelly did it to Aaron Hall. And to see it's done, I never heard the Rick Ross thing, but I've heard other things, and it was self-evident of people who stole the swagger that I had, because I had Versace on before people started talking about Versace. I had that on in Lisa Baby video. Like I had all the colors. Dre made sure of it. You know, that was one of the most expensive videos at that time. So, you know, we had the Versace's on, we had the Rolexes and all of that stuff before people could even pronounce it. When it wasn't the cool thing to do, it was just fashionable. And Dre was an expert at being fashionable for the artists, you know. So, you know, a lot of things that, you know, people do and did, I was doing then. It's just that when you get budgets, you could make it seem like it's yours. You get what I mean? When you get that budget that's $1 billion, you can convince the people that you did it first.
Which
But the
nobody
people that
got a
really
budget
know,
of $1 billion, but
you know what I mean.
I
Like
know.
if you get a budget and you could outshine somebody, then that. But if you really say all fairness, put two of the same cats in a different studio and let them go against each other, production wise or making a record, the truth will always reveal itself. But if you got the head and you got a budget and you got a whole bunch of people that's convinced you to shit, the better person's gonna lose. So it becomes unfair.
Well, the
Yeah.
other thing is, where did all the flavor come from?
Father,
I'll tell you, me.
you see, here we go again. You see,
I just
how
playing.
could I come? Let me
I
just
just
say this,
playing.
man.
No,
I
you
no, he
promoting.
ain't playing now because he know I'm getting ready to go. At the end of the day, I came to Uptown. I seen this little boy-headed dude. It was a president, right? He had white lips, like mayonnaise on his lips. And I'm looking at this guy. His shoes was out of pocket, and then but he had everybody at Uptown gassed up because he used to go like this. He's short. He used to go, "So my man," and I'm like, "Who's this retarded?" Retarded, and they got retarded. He got all Uptown people thinking, "Yo, Jimmy started it off with the language, with the." I was looking at him like he's retarded. That was my word. But then he heard me say it to somebody, and then he said it, and then next thing you know, he's on the basketball court. He on the basketball court. This thing is retarded. My God. But if you ask anybody at Uptown, they're gonna say my man did it. And then they even doing the hand gestures. If you look at all of them, if you look at Heavy, I like the Heavy, God bless. Eddie F and them, like they do it so corny. Like, look, my man. It's not like my man, like my man. No, it's my man. You're retarded. You're bananas right now. This guy, Jimmy, set it off. Jimmy was the head shooter at Uptown. when he used to get mad, when he used to get mad, he used to stomp out the oh my God, yo, dude, I can't. Yo, Jimmy was the force, though. I can't front. Jimmy, I play around, but Jimmy was the force at
I
Uptown.
knew we was gonna come
If you
back to
wanted your
that
record
and
played,
start
and if
telling
you
the
wanted your
truth.
record broke, if you wanted your record broke for real, and you go to Jimmy and say, "Yo, money, yo, something ain't right. Your rep ain't doing their job." Jimmy would get on the reps if you had a liable, like something
Legitimate beef.
that sound for real. If
Hmm.
you know, like Jimmy used to always know when I go to a market, if the reps were in pocket, I'm just calling Uptown like, "Yo, my man, your man is retarded right now. Your man is retarded. He got me in some bum shack. This guy is bananas. I'm not going inside." You know, because we get our little diva moments as artists, but when you get hits, your whole thing changes. Like, this is what I don't have to do. And certain things you got to do. You got to, you know, Like let's say George Harrell. George Harrell was a radio rep, and he knew all the radio
And a
people.
good one. A good one.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, George taught me the road. He was the first one to go out on the road with me, and George was having so much fun. You got George on the road with Father MC. All the women he getting paid from Father MC, and he's getting paid from Uptown. So now you got like the Jimmy Jenkins in the office sitting behind the desk, mad because George is on a conference call having a good time. So I was in the hotel one day. I come to the hotel and Jimmy's on the phone. I don't care. If you don't get your black ass, if you don't get your back out here in the office, you're over with. Tell Father you got to get his own new road manager. I'm listening like this. I'm saying the hate of a man that's just and then George comes out, George, I call him church guy. Because George would come out and he'd have this walk like this. Look, I don't know if y'all can see. Look, George would walk with his head down like this, like. And then he'd look up, and he's like, yo, God, let me talk to you. I'm like, yo, George, what's up? Yo, Jimmy called. You gotta get a road manager because I gotta go back to work. You got spit flying everywhere. And this guy, I'm talking to him like this. Like this.
Oh. But this is the truth of the matter. The truth of the matter is you can't do promotions and be a road manager for a company. You can't road manage and be concerned with just one artist. We got 13 artists to concern ourselves with and making sure each and every one of them are focused, and we're focused on each and every one of them. And our whole thing was to go platinum, the quadruple platinum on every record that we put out, starting since Father started all the way to Jodeci, Mary, and everything else that came behind it, which went platinum. And then we definitely had a lot of
But
artists to
George was the
fall by
road
the
manager
wayside.
for
So,
everybody.
well, he was part of the road manager. We had a team of 30 people. So some of the people you don't even know, Father was road managing other artists, and he was the road manager for I'll Be Sure at first. That's how he knew how to handle Father MC.
Right.
You know, and the other thing too, as well, is that the artist development was a big thing. We had a department of artist development, which was 10 people. You know, Andrew Randani, Dice, Sybil, then on the side you have Misa that would be helping Puff with fashion, and then you have Puff, Eddie F, his whole crew, and you gotta remember, not only artists did we had producers that were becoming as prominent as artists were, as singers were. So before, when you was a producer, you just produced the record and you was in the background. Nobody never knew you, never seen you. And the artists would go out there, they only see the artists. Now the producer starts to step up to the front, and now they want to be Pharrell, they want to be Eddie F, Puff Daddy, and these are all guys that were producing the records at first. You know what I mean? And that's where we at today. The producer is just as prominent as the lead singer or the artist.
Yeah.
And we had to take care of those guys too. That's what I'm saying. So,
Yeah.
Father speaking from an artist perspective, and that's fine. I'm speaking from a broader perspective that shows you the whole inside of the record business and the record company, all the way down to the artist development of an individual artist.
Yeah. Well, Father, just before you go, can you let us know what to expect from you and from F Media over the next couple of weeks and months?
Well, me and Jimmy, we have a situation we're dealing with that we are not really talking about. It's with a major network that we're doing for F Media. He's coming to Vegas. We're going to Vegas. From Vegas, we're going to Cali. And from Cali, we're going to Atlanta. And we just left Atlanta and we're about to go back and we're going to close this.
And also,
The Carnegie Hall.
Totally transparent is, we're trying to do film and music and media, and that's what we're really trying to do. And also make your past pay for your present. What I mean by that, the records that you already made, Now you could begin to place them in films. There's so many things you could do with records that were already made that are hit records that
Oh, and
generate traffic.
I just produced Jackie McGee. Her new song's coming out. My girl Jackie McGee, Make
Big
It
up
Last
Jackie
Forever with
McGee.
Keith Sweat.
Big up Jackie McGee. We love her. She's one
Yeah,
of our
Yeah,
regulars.
I
Yeah.
produced 2 songs on her, and I caught her single.
Wow.
Single is fire. Single is fire. Fire. We're releasing that. She's releasing in July, June, July. The record. I think people gonna be. I took a whole different direction where I think people are gonna be thoroughly impressed and excited about the new song. Um, she's a force to be reckoned with, and still got it. And she can go
Yeah.
against the best of them right now. Jackie's my girl. She's a workhorse. She comes. She doesn't play. She comes to get it in, and it was a pleasure working with her. And she's a part of the F Media team as well. So it's a lot of things that we're doing that we don't really talk about, that we just about to let loose because it's about to be released. It's release time. And when I started F Media, we had to get some of the artists, we had to get the kinks out. Some are still here, some are not. And that's a good thing because we had to learn each other.
Okay, so some of the artists that because you were produced on IG, you were no Instagram, you're releasing some snippets of different artists.
Right.
So
Right.
some of them have left, some of them are still around.
Well, no one's left. I got rid
Okay,
of artists. It's a difference. Yeah. It's a I didn't I you know, it's certain people you watch their styles and you watch, what they're doing. A lot of people want to move a little faster than they don't realize there's a machine in back of you. Again, like I said, this is not coming out on Shitful Records. This is a Sony situation. So you got to go and have conferences. You got to get your stuff together. And I'm employing our situation like Uptown situation. And not only dealing with the artist, I have this artist, E.C. Adams. He's about to drop. He has a record that's crazy. We have B Love. He's the new Dave Hollister. He's on that vibe. I'm gonna get you snippets. I'm gonna get you sing. You know, you got he's our artist. He's something to reckon with. We had to go and work on redo his album like twice. I'm working with a young lady named Sahara. It's crazy, and they're patient. They understand that it's a business. It's not a friendship. And not only do I deal with them, then I deal with like the Jimmy Jenkins and all of the other people that we employ to make this thing go. So it's a machine. And like I say, when you come out, when F Media artists come out, it's gonna be about they're gonna come out like artists should be. Because I only was taught how to make stars. I don't know how to put a record out and get excited because it's on YouTube. It's like it got to do more than that. I want it to all of the DJs. I'm interested in the vinyl. I want to supply the DJs with vinyl. I want to supply the DJs with the stuff that they need, whatever they need. So it's a thing that we have to do. Father MC F Media, that stands for Father MC. F Media Corp is Father MC, FMC. So we got to get it in, and it's learning steps that we all learning still. It's a new thing for me, so I'm excited.
okay. Well, I mean, Father, and it's definitely, it's been a pleasure that you've taken your time this evening. We're definitely going to get you back when you and Jimmy have something to announce and stuff. But as I said before I started, I um, gave you lots of love, and you've really shown that today. We got Mikey D that sends his love as well, sends his regards.
Yes,
Um,
Mikey D, my guy, Mikey D. That's my guy,
yeah, he
Mikey
Who's
said
D.
Mikey D?
Yes, from
he said
Queens.
I'll rock away.
Oh, I thought it was okay, Mike D from the Beastie Boys.
Oh, nah, yeah, but that's my guy too, though.
Yeah, but
Hey,
yeah, no,
Jimmy, let me ask you a question. What are you doing right now, money?
he's cooking. I think
He's cooking.
he's cooking.
Ask him, did he put rum in his food? Did he put rum in his
Cause I,
food?
I don't
He
drink.
cooks with rum. He cooks with rum in his food. Everything he makes. Eggs, bacon. He puts rum in it. He cooks it. I don't
First
get
of
this guy.
all, first of all, I've never cooked with rum in my life. I don't even
Bernard
drink
said you
rum.
cook with rum when he came to
I
Virginia.
know that exactly, exactly. You're listening to that.
Hey, yo,
Oh,
man,
goodness.
man.
Stevie, any final questions for Father FC? Because we've kept him for over 2 hours,
Listen,
over two and a half hours.
it's great that you're still in the game after all this time. It's incredible. We
Thank you.
appreciate it.
I appreciate you guys too. And I told you halftime you was gonna blow up. I told you when halftime first did it. I told him, come on, let's go, man. And I wasn't taking interviews like I wasn't taking shows. But I'm the one who told Jimmy and everybody, Eddie up and all of them about you. You know,
Yeah.
Whatever.
oh, my girl Sunshine, she's a podcaster too. I want you to check her out too. She's dope. She's
Okay.
dope. But
Okay.
I want to say thank you for having us, man. Thank you coming on, Jimmy, and thank you for interviewing me also. And we got more stuff in store, man. It's coming.
We look
That's
forward
Yeah.
to
it.
it.
You
Definitely.
know, it's funny because when I first interviewed Father back in 2020, he did say next time we go live, and I'd never done a live back then. I was like, man, live, I don't care. But you, you've got people who've been sending messages, and joining in and really appreciating stuff, enjoying Jimmy cooking as he's talking. So everything, everything is everything is part of it and stuff.
Listen,
But
listen.
yeah,
That's part of the flavor I do. I teach
yeah,
cooking, high grooming. You know what I mean? I'm a barber,
Dog
beautician.
grooming.
Uh, uh, you know, teeth cleaning, making sure you got all your teeth, and and I showed everybody, including father, how to make sure that he dyes his hair properly and puts Jerry curl
Oh
juice in
shit!
it to get curls. So I taught all that
no, but
about
you know
high
that I think
So
powered wines, everything.
do they hear? He ain't got none. This guy is
no,
crazy.
but people appreciate
Oh
the
shit!
fact that you guys are keeping, you're giving us the stories of records and memories that we have. You know, I was always wondered why a great album like Sex is Law didn't really blow up as it should, because 69 went platinum. But now at least we understood the controversy was too much for MCA, that they just said, what, just don't push it, despite it blowing up like that. And understanding the changes from Father's Day to Close to You, why it was so personal, but actually for me one of your better albums from that. um but I still think, and it's unfortunate that MCA, Uptown, had a lot going on with Jodeci and Mary, that Close to You didn't get the push that I think it could have been, because One Night Stand was the hot stuff, but there were other tracks that could have just really taken it to another level. Close to You, I think if that was released, um, Red Lace Lingerie, I think that would have been another big track. I think if they had just given,
I thought that was gonna be it. Red Lace Lingerie, Quiet as Kept. I thought that was gonna be it. But you know,
You
let the
gotta
chips
remember,
always.
there's politics with all of this stuff. You know what I mean? And it's not only the artist that has to do the politicking. It's everybody involved. You work with a major label or book publisher or whatever. You gotta. It's a negotiation. It's not your decision and your view. You bought the artist in and you want everything to go your way. No, you have to discuss it with people that have been doing it for a long time, their way. And so it's a convincing thing and it's a political.
yeah, I mean, that's this is just for intro to come out. So this would have been, I think that would have been the first time we would have heard the intro if they'd done that video. But I guess I can understand if intro was signed to
Eddie F.
another label, they probably wouldn't have wanted to give them that push. But Red Lace Lingerie, um, love ladies, I love them. I mean, my body. Oh goodness, that's a classic album that just doesn't get the
Thank you.
credit it deserves. definitely doesn't get the credit it deserves. So
And Eddie F
um,
intro was signed to Eddie F's Untouchables label on Electric.
yeah, but I think the flavor they gave on "Close to You"
Mm-hmm.
was just different from what we heard from Jodeci. Because yeah, we all know the
But you
Jodeci how
know,
they
you,
sing.
you,
Yeah.
you gotta understand one thing. Like when I'm in the studio and I'm with you, like I know what I'm hearing from each artist that I deal with. I'm getting that out of you. What you gonna give me, you may not give someone else.
Mm.
Even though you can sing your butt off, they're not gonna get what I get from you because I know what I want to hear. So I know, like, especially when it comes to my stuff, like I was there. Like Kenny, come on, Kenny. Kenny did all the vocals on that. I give intro
I think you
was
froze.
the sing. I was going with the singers. I was dealing with Casey and JoJo. Like those were the epitome of singers to me. So anyone else I dealt with, I wasn't dealing with anything but who's the guy? Who's the guy to do it? And Kenny, he was a workhorse too. Kenny was incredible. He was a workhorse. He was ready to work. He would be at Eddie F's house anytime I got there. And I liked Kenny's style. So I was finding records for Kenny to do. I was finding, like, let's find a record. And then it made all the sense in the world when I did Close to You. When I did
Mm.
Close to You, when it was about Sonya, I was like, I need Kenny on this. Like even on Do the One Two, that's me and Mary on Do the One Two. The flashlight.
Mm.
Eddie F produced that, but that was me and Mary. Mary's on the hook at the end of the day. So it was like I'm putting the puzzles together, the pieces of the puzzle together. And on Close to You, I didn't have I A&R'd my album. I A&R'd my album. It was me and Andre. And Andre ain't do nothing but write the check. Because I was at the studio. I was at the studio. I didn't have an
What about
A&R at
Tim
that time.
Dog?
Tim Dog was on Sex's Law.
Mm-hmm.
That was the second album. Was executive producer was Andre and myself, and that was that. Tim Dog came with 69, but as far as Close to You, that was all Father MC with the producers getting that to make that right.
Yeah.
And it was a feeling, it was a move because no one could A&R my feelings. No one could A&R how I felt when Sonia when she died. And she
Okay.
got trampled in the college thing. It was nothing you could tell me. You got my management team, Frank DeLeo and Steve Lucas, telling me they want to send me to Hawaii to forget my prop. Like, get out of here, man. I'm dealing with something. So at the end of the day, that's why I called Dre and I said I gotta stop the album and we gotta start all over and I need to do this album. And that's when we start getting the one night stands. That's when we got the everything's gonna be all right. That's when we got all of the stuff on Close to You. I'm Close to You. We got all of that. The affection. We got all of that because it was coming from somewhere else. You know, I was dealing with something. So,
Yeah.
sometimes too.
Yeah. I think you. Yeah. Do the 1 2. You had Kenny Green and Mary doing the background vocals on.
Yeah. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
putting it together. I was putting it
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
I want to give one more acknowledgement to Kenny Hicks.
Kenny Hicks. Yeah, Kenny Hicks was dope. Kenny Hicks, yes.
Oh, he just disappeared. Okay, Jimmy just Jimmy just disappeared. But
His
okay.
phone probably fell in his saucer.
But Steve, I'll let you say goodbye to Father before, because you've held up to that phone for 2.5 hours. So, any final
Yes,
thing?
big thanks for coming on. Big thanks to the listeners who always tune in every week on this podcast. There's been loads, tons of
Yeah,
comments,
yeah,
questions this week. You know,
yeah. But definitely, Father, you've been a legend as always. And so, as I said, when you're ready with your project, we're going to come back live again. So anytime, just let me, and we'll do this again when we're now talking about F Media and we've got stuff to promote as well.
Yes, and I appreciate you guys too, man. Definitely.
Yeah. Yes, I really appreciate it.
take
So,
care.
guys, just let's send our love and appreciation to Father MC. He, as I said, gave me my break by being my first guest, and since then, he's been holding up his phone for 2.5 hours, and he's really blessed us with some amazing stories and stuff. And then to Jimmy, who just cut off, but hey, Jimmy, you know, Jimmy's trying to arrange Christopher Williams and Albie Shaw to do a joint stuff. So he's trying to bring us. He's trying to bring them both on so we can see that. But anyway, Father, we appreciate it, and we'll definitely keep in touch as well.
Okay, thank you so much.
Take
All
care,
right.
sir.
Thanks,
All
Father.
right, peace, guys.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Okay. Goodness,
Wow.
Stevie. Oh, wow.
How surreal did that end up being?
Yeah. I mean, what was it like for you? Because as I said, I talked about it a lot, but for you, I mean, just getting to hear some of these stories and stuff, especially.
I think we've answered quite. He's answered a lot of questions there, and now I kind of understand the background to. I didn't know he lost his girl at the time for the second album. Had no idea. It's a big thing, man. I'm amazed he even got a second album out after going through something like that. You know, so all credit to it.
She was pregnant as well.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well,
Because I've heard about I've heard about the accident, but I didn't know how personally it was involved he was for him. And then to come up with that album, which I think was his best work, you know, the songs, the vibe and stuff like that. He kept saying affection. Is that all I want? Was that
It samples basically the whole track's using Tamara and the Scene, a track called Affection from the mid-80s.
Okay.
That's what she's using.
Yeah, Sonia was pregnant. Yeah.
All I want is affection.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll send you the YouTube link so you can check that song out.
Oh, okay. So yeah, when he kept saying affection, I'm thinking, where did I do?
What was your top 10? We didn't get to do our top 10. What was your top 10, by the way?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna go for. Let me do 10 to because yeah. Well, at least he gave me. So my top from number 10 was "I Come Correct."
Okay.
I love that song. Then number 9 was "All I Want," so the affections. Number 8, "Ladies, I Love Them."
Brilliant record.
Number 7, "One Night Stand."
Yeah.
Number 6, "Sex Is Law." 5, R&B Swinger. Number 4, "Lisa Baby," such a New Jack track.
Brilliant.
Number 3 was "Treat Them."
Yep.
Number 2 was "69."
Okay.
And number 1 was "Close to You." I just want to get close.
Yeah, it's just a brilliant record. You know what I mean? It's just, you know, I think I had my top 3 in that reverse order, but
what was yours then?
I was going to go for an overview's career, so I just went for a track at number 10 off this album.
Okay.
There's a track on it called "You Just Don't Know," which samples. I forgot his name. So late in the night, he's a fun guy, but some at Watson, Johnny Guitar Watson. That's it. Samples Johnny Guitar Watson, but it's got a female vocal on it. Number 10. If you've not got the album, listeners, go out and grab it. There's some good stuff on that. What's my number 9? Was "Pimp or Die" from the Who's the Man soundtrack, one of his few hardcore hip hop jams. Number 8 was I went from his album that he released after the Uptown albums that came out in the UK on Mission Records. "You Can Do Me," which sampled Collage, "Get in Touch," big 80s track. Number 7, I tied "One Night Stand" with "Ladies, I Love Them." That was at number 7. I couldn't make my mind up which one were out them two. Number 6 was "Everything's Gonna Be All Right," because I was just in the clubs at the time. It was huge, as I was saying earlier. Number 5 was "All I Want." Number 4 was 69. Number 3, I had the remixes of Lisa Bett. I preferred the remixes to the album mix. The Devontae Swing mix and the Pete Rock mix. Number 2, I had "Close to You" with intro. And at number 1, his best track for me of all time is "Treat You Like You Want to Be Treated."
Oh, okay.
Just the jodeci vocals, the actual production was pure New Jack. That's his best ever track. But what a great... I wish Sheldon was here tonight. I hope he's okay. I really wish.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I can say a year from now, I'll say it here now, and I'll probably sound ridiculous, but we may have Teddy, Aaron, and Damien just sat. We'll be in the background, and they'll be going at it, just chatting away about memories. Because I'm telling you, mate, you've got all this negativity now on YouTube surrounding Diddy and all these other music things. It's all negative and clickbait. Whereas this podcast, these artists can come here and just chill out, stress free, and just talk about the good old days and have a damn good chat. And I'm telling you now, if any of you watching, this is the place to be in a sun. Come and join us. Music artist, hip hop soul artist. You want to come on live and talk to your fans who appreciate you and just want to connect with you. Come and join us, and we'll have a bit of fun and have a laugh and have a chat. And there's no clickbait. There's none of that nonsense. We're not here for, to try and dig you out or anything. We just want you to enjoy yourself, and we just want your memories, really. Why not, eh? So I'm gonna
Yeah. And as Colin says, I cook. Yeah, it is funny because Jimmy, because Jim, yeah, I think because I did a lot of promotion on it. So while we are doing it, I got a call from Jimmy to say, hey, what's going on? Let me come on. And they're still doing stuff together. And Jimmy's a massive supporter of the channel, Jimmy Love. And when I interviewed, he went through the whole history of Uptown and the whole Motown stuff. He's the one I got Eddie F to call on. So he's so Jimmy is still that guy. So
that was just a bit of magic. That just we were trying to let them just go at it.
Yeah. And Father, I like the fact that
we got through a lot of stuff there.
He was just laughing like he
Great,
was in high school, like he was the jokester, and he go to KFC throwing biscuits and coleslaw. But we didn't. I mean, it's funny because a lot of his top 10, we covered them, like One Night Stand and Treat and all that stuff. But as I said, now I understand why Sex's Law didn't get the push, because the Army Swinger and
didn't know at the time, did we? We had no idea.
Sex's Law, big tracks, but because the whole controversy about the whole 69, they just said, what. And I think this is when Death Row was going through its, Death Row, that whole stuff. So they like too much heat. It's not good for corporate business. Now I'm sure later on, after they should have seen that would have been a selling point, but at that time it was still too early. But yeah, beautiful album, and Father is just the thing people should realize is that Father's a millionaire right now. Unlike most of the other artists that he doesn't need to tour. He just makes music. He's producing a lot of stuff. He's producing a track for Jack and McGee. I think 2 tracks. He's just been making music, and money's not a problem for him. He invested well.
Fair play to him for giving us some of his time, for coming on and chatting. Then
2.5 hours, Stevie. He was on holding his phone for 2.5 hours. So I have a lot of respect, because if you sat by a computer and then he was sitting down talking, but he was holding on to his phone and moving around for 2.5 hours. So yeah. So Colin, get Bobby and Teddy, then we can retire. That would be, it's not out of the realms of impossibility. So let's just say that it's not out of the realms. But anyway, guys,
we're moving in the right circles. That's all I'm going to say. We're moving in the right circles.
So for those who just coming now, our brother Sheldon took ill just early on, so he couldn't make today. But he sends his love. But we do miss him, and I'm sure he would have enjoyed today. I've been trying. I say to get Dave Hall. Oh, I've been trying to get Dave Hall for 3 years, and Dave Hall hasn't. He's not responded on that. He knows that. I even got in touch with him last 2 days ago. So I've been trying to get Dave Hall, but I'll keep trying, because he's still trying to come up with new music. I appreciate you guys. Next week is I'll Be Sure. Our top 10 favorite songs from I'll Be Sure. So get your list together. I have got in touch with I'll Be Sure to see if he can join us, and and hopefully he will. But Albie Shaw is doing a lot of he's campaigning a lot about organ transplant because of what he went through. So he's really taking things serious from that point of view. But he might join us the same way Jimmy and joined today. So I'm going to send him the link, and because he's a supporter of what I do, because he says that when everyone starts talking about all the negative stuff, we stayed positive, and he appreciates that. So he knows this is a safe place for him and his colleagues, that no one's going to start trying to dig dirt and stuff. Even when Father talked about the whole stampede, we didn't go in detail. We knew it was a tough situation. We accepted it and just allowed him be. So yeah, so it's going to be interesting next week with Albie Shaw's top 10 up across his 4 albums. And so join us then. But also Thursday, Stevie, let us remind
We've got
everyone.
LeFlex, UK artist, producer, songwriter. It's got a new album out. It's very think Jam and Lewis production wise. Think Imagination from the 80s. Some
Yeah, actually,
imagination type group.
Jimmy Jam follows him, so I think he appreciates what he does. So Jimmy Jam follows him. So we will we'll put up when I put the link for both for the live interview on Thursday, and then the Albie Show on Sunday. You'll be able to get a vibe for his stuff. So, and as I said, hopefully Albie Show joins us live. It's not out of the possibility, so it would be good. But thanks, guys, for your support and for asking the questions, for making Father feel appreciated, because he watches, he's listening, he was on Facebook watching and letting us know. So all the comments, everyone's been able to see them. So every single one of you guys who showed love today, it's really appreciated. It makes our guests feel comfortable that they can come on and feel love and support. Yes. So I've just got a call from Jimmy, so I will I'll answer him. But we'll see you guys next week. And yeah, thanks, Stevie.
Good evening and good night to you all. Thanks for